Come along with me. You are about to see how giving everything to make your 7 sisters into top-tier icons gets you absolutely nowhere. My big reward, they tossed me right out of the mansion like some annoying stray dog ruining their perfect luxury rug. That exact moment, I realized I was literally just a temporary placeholder. With the real Lincoln family heir finally discovered, they dumped me right out onto the cold streets without even a single ounce of hesitation. I stared straight at the huge cash check sitting on the table, raising one eyebrow. What does this even mean? Eldest sister Claire Lincoln, the freezing cold. CEO replied with an icy glare. While father was still around, you took great care of him. Now that he is gone, you have zero reason to stay here. This cash is your final payout. Wow, so I am evicted. I let out a dry laugh, staring right at her. Did you honestly think you qualified to stay here? Claire's tone totally froze over. Everything the Lincoln family owns today was built entirely by us 7. What have you ever done besides playing nurse for the old man? It is honestly best we just go our separate ways. Do not make this ugly. And all of you agree. I swept my gaze across the other 6 girls. We took a family vote. You lost, Claire snapped, looking highly impatient. Do not make me say things that will hurt your feelings. I looked up, my eyes locking onto the giant family portrait hanging right there. Out of hundreds of photos in this house, not a single one included me. Taking care of Mr. Lincoln was my duty, I replied, eyeing the check. I do not need your charity. This was originally mine anyway, but from today forward, our ties are officially cut. Lose my number forever. Period. Now watch this. The betrayal absolutely stung, mixing deep heartbreak with sheer annoyance. I had silently sacrificed everything for over 10 years only to get completely booted. They do not deserve me. I turned around and marched straight toward the front door. Third sister Tracy stood up, her tone dripping with pure disgust. You drained the Lincoln family wealth for well over 10 years and you have the nerve to act ungrateful. We are the ones who should feel totally cheated. You are just a parasite feeding off our hard work. You have absolutely zero right to act so incredibly arrogant. I paused, slowly turning back with a completely flat stare. Sure, whatever helps you sleep at night. Just get out, she scoffed, glaring right at me like absolute garbage. Get out of our sight. Oh, do not worry. You will soon see who the real parasite is, I said, finally stepping out the gates. Hold it right there. Hand over the check. Just outside the main gates, a blonde teenager suddenly lunged straight forward. One hand shoved in his pocket, the other extended like a spoiled brat demanding candy. That is Lincoln money. Do not think about taking a single dime. I frowned. That huge check Claire gave me? The blonde kid sneered. Do not make me get physical. By the way, the name is Kevin Lincoln, the actual biological son of the late old man there. The fact is, kicking you to the curb was my absolute only condition for moving back here. I narrowed my eyes, finally putting the missing pieces together. Years ago, because you tried making a move on the 4th sister, the old man absolutely banished you. He passes away and you suddenly crawl back. I chuckled coldly. You are not getting that cash. As for the Lincoln family wealth, I will be taking all of it straight back. Kevin's face darkened. He pulled his hand out, ready to swing. I casually sidestepped, grabbed him by the collar, and lifted him off the ground like some misbehaving kitten. If you were not his son, you would be totally flattened right now, I whispered coldly. Remember this. You only get this one single free pass. I tossed Kevin onto the pavement, gave his groaning body a very polite nod, and walked away. Not long after, my phone suddenly buzzed. Boss, a respectful voice said on the line. By tomorrow, the tech and media stocks will skyrocket. Also in room 108 on East Street, there is a wanted fugitive hiding out. From today on, zero need to report to me anymore, I interrupted, looking up. For well over a decade, my entire heart and soul were totally dedicated to them. I was born with a very rare, severe cold poison condition. Even though the old man extended my life, I only have about a year left. Now I am finally living for myself. I know exactly what you are thinking. What happens next? I pulled a crumpled paper and headed to the scribbled address. This was the final relic old man Lincoln left me before he passed. Meanwhile, back at the Lincoln mansion, the 7 sisters and their adoptive mother, Victoria, rushed right out the front door. Kevin, sweetie, are you okay? Victoria wailed loudly, dropping to her knees to cuddle him. That ungrateful punk has some nerve. Mom, I am fine, Kevin whined, holding his face. He is probably just mad because I took his spot. Should we have let him stay? Claire frowned, grinding her teeth. I never expected him to be such a violently aggressive thug. You absolutely made the right call, eldest sister. Second sister Rachel Lincoln sighed in disappointment. Keeping him around only puts Kevin in danger. Victoria glared. Our only son got assaulted and you just stand there, trust me. We are going to love this upcoming payback. Stick with me here. Rachel fined Leo and force him to apologize to Kevin. Rachel just pushed up her glasses and nodded. Fine, welcome to the Beautiful View Apartments. Spoiler alert, it looked absolutely awful. Leo stood facing a crumbling, sad building. Checking the address one last time, he finally knocked on a rusted metal door. The door creaked open. A hunched older guy in a tank top peeked out, gripping a massive kitchen cleaver super tight. Uncle Harry, Leo asked. Instantly, the older guy's eyes shined with pure joy. Young Master Leo is here, honey. Look. He tossed the cleaver aside, opening the door wide. Sorry for the absolute mess. We totally missed you. Uncle Harry, I am not a young master anymore. Leo sighed, stepping into the super cramped apartment. They kicked me out. I am officially homeless now. Harry froze, then burst into very cheerful laughter. Hey, if you do not mind the tiny space, stay with us, Harry. What are you even saying? Aunt Lily rushed out to greet him, holding a plate of super sad, wrinkly apples. Those Lincoln sisters will definitely come begging him back soon. Uncle Harry, what exactly happened to your leg? Leo asked, glancing from the tragic fruit to his bad limp. These guys were clearly struggling to survive right now. Do not even start. Lily sighed. Enough, Harry snapped back. Leo's eyes suddenly flashed with pure, dangerous anger. Uncle Harry, who actually did this, Leo grabbed his hands, totally serious. Tell me everything. Harry just sighed, lighting up. Old man Lincoln was incredibly kind to me back in the day. Now pay attention here. Years ago, I caught Kevin attacking your sister and snitched to the boss. He totally kicked Kevin out of the house. Victoria hated me completely after that. He sighed. A year later, she sent thugs to purposely crush my poor leg during work. She even threatened my daughter. Leo just shook his head. He knew Victoria disliked him, but this was pure villain behavior, Uncle Harry. I left rushing, so I only have some cash. Please take this. Leo dropped a few $100 bills on the table. Leo, what are you doing? Harry panicked instantly, trying to shove the cash back. I do not like you just for your wealth. Pull that again and leave. Okay, my bad. Leo smiled, taking it back, feeling a strange, comforting warmth in his chest. Right then, a cheerful college girl with a backpack bounced right into the room. Hazel, look! Harry beamed. Brother Leo, why are you here? Hazel basically tackled him with a hug. Just missed you. Leo patted her head, catching a sweet floral scent. I am buying some quick groceries. Leo, please stay for dinner. Harry scraped up some crinkled bills from a drawer and limped out the front door. Brother Leo, how did you find us? Hazel chirped playfully, pouting. I thought you were gone forever. I got completely kicked out. Nowhere to go. He basically gave her the super short version. You know what happens next. Sudden violent pounding rattled the door. Aunt Lily panicked instantly, grabbing that heavy cleaver. Hazel, hide, Leo, come on! Hazel grabbed his hand desperately, trying to drag him safely away. No need. Leo narrowed his eyes, a freezing, epic aura rolling off him. Today, this becomes my true home. He swung the door wide. A thug wearing a loud floral shirt and chunky gold chain stood there. He froze, forcing a painfully fake smile. Young Master Leo, what brings you? He is absolutely no master anymore. A cold voice echoed. Rachel Lincoln stepped up in a trench coat and fancy heels, looking exactly like a final boss. As of today, Leo has absolutely zero connection to the powerful Lincoln family. Leo barely reacted. Do not act friendly, Rachel snapped, adjusting her glasses, her voice completely pure ice. You are no Lincoln. Stop using our name to play gangster. Sure, Leo casually replied. So, Dr. Lincoln, what brings you to this dump? Go apologize to Kevin, Rachel firmly demanded. Do it and I pay $500,000. That solves this pathetic mess so you do not starve. She vaguely gestured toward the thugs. Hazel was absolutely furious. Having money does not let you bully completely honest people, Rachel frowned. Your turn to speak, she turned back, eyes dripping with pure toxic condescension. Listen, even if our family rejected you, do not stoop low enough to hang with this lower-class absolute trash. Dr. Lincoln Leo interrupted, dangerously soft. Show some basic decent human respect for once. Did the boss teach you this, or did you skip class? He stepped closer, intensely staring her down. What defines lower class? Trust me, a hospital title does not make you royalty. Let's dive right in. You want me to remember my place? Well, let me remind you. Without the old man, you'd still be an abandoned kid freezing outside. Rachel gasped, taking a sharp step back. A shaking finger pointed straight at me. Are you quite done? She claims these people are ungrateful thieves who robbed us. Bringing up ancient history. Got actual proof, or are we just treating Victoria's word like total truth? I crossed my arms. Without proof, you better apologize right now, because starting today, this is my turf and nobody disrespects my family. Rachel laughed out of pure fury. Fine then. I apologize for what I said. Let's see how you protect them now, tough guy. My offer remains. Apologize to Kevin and I will fix all this. Miss Lincoln, are you actually serious? The floral shirt thug asked carefully. He got kicked out. He means nothing to us. Even if I help, it is just business, Rachel replied coldly. Understand, Doc? The thug immediately cracked his knuckles, glaring right at Aunt Lily. Where is my cash, old lady? His goons quickly surrounded me. I just tilted my head. What exactly is going on here? Aunt Lily wiped her tears. When Harry broke his leg, I borrowed $3 grand for surgery. Less than a month later, they claimed we owed 10 grand. We paid back over 300,000 across 10 years, but the debt keeps growing. You still owe 300,000. When are you paying? The thug roared. Right then, Harry was dragged upstairs. Stumbling forward, he fell to his knees right in front of the thug. Please, we truly have nothing left. Shut your mouth, old man! The goon threatened him. If you cannot pay, we take your daughter. Hey, Leo, if you take the doctor's deal, I'll accept 500,000 to clear it. Rachel looked over, a totally victorious smirk on her lips. Last chance, Leo. If you say no, do not come crying. Thanks for the offer, Doc, but I really prefer doing things my own way. Watch closely. Before anyone could blink, I launched a huge kick straight into Floral Shirt's chest. He flew backward like a cannonball, crashing right through the third-floor window and landing super hard on the pavement down below. But hey, do not worry. His face broke the fall. Complete silence. Rachel was absolutely horrified. Leo, are you crazy? Do you think throwing a wild tantrum makes people pity you? Doctor in your eyes, am I truly that useless? I glanced right back, my eyes completely freezing over. If you change your mind, go complain to Claire. Rachel stomped away, completely fuming. Leo, just run, Harry yelled, pulling out a few crumpled bills. I do not have much. Take this and run. These thugs are connected. Brother Leo, run. They will not let you go. Hazel sobbed, clinging to my arm. Take Uncle Harry and Aunt Lily inside. Lock everything up tight and do not open the door no matter what you hear. Got it. I ruffled her hair gently. I never lie to you. I will sort this mess out and be back for dinner without a scratch. Okay, I trust you. Hazel stood right on her tiptoes, pressing a soft, quick kiss to my lips. Books say a first kiss brings good luck. I will be waiting to eat the food you cook. She wiped her tears and hurried inside. The second that door clicked shut, my soft smile completely vanished, instantly replaced by absolute freezing rage. I know what you're thinking. He's cornered, nope. I grabbed my phone. You have 10 minutes to get your boys to view apartments. If you are late, you know what happens. Meanwhile, back at the Lincoln Mansion, eldest sister, I cannot do this. Rachel stormed into the living room, aggressively tossing her purse onto the sofa. He actually lectured me and made me apologize to a bunch of total nobodies. I have never been so humiliated. The living room felt incredibly tense. 5 of the sisters sat on the couches, their expressions unreadable. What are you idiots doing? Claire was pacing by the huge window, screaming into her phone. I pay you millions yearly not to hear weak apologies. Fix the portfolio now. If we lose money tomorrow, you are all officially fired. What is going on? Rachel whispered softly. Claire's international stock portfolio completely tanked today. Massive losses, Valerie whispered back. She is furious. Rachel looked shocked. But Claire's investments never lose money. Exactly. That is why she is blowing a gasket over a multi-million-dollar dip, Valerie mumbled quietly. Claire slammed her phone down and whirled around. What are you whispering about? How did Leo go? I could not do it. Rachel sighed heavily. He is way too proud to bow his head. And before I left, he gave a local loan shark a free flying lesson out a 3rd-story window. The sisters gasped. Has Leo lost his mind? He must be triggered, one sister noted. Maybe we were a little bit too ruthless. Regardless, he has absolutely nothing to do with this family anymore. Claire snapped back her voice, leaving zero room for argument. The living room fell into a deeply uncomfortable silence. Suddenly, the main house phone rang. Claire put it right on speaker. CEO Lincoln. I heard you kicked Leo out. A raspy voice grated through. Yes. Why? Claire asked coldly. Well, he just totally crippled one of my boys. Without your protection, I will deal with him by the harsh laws of the street. Do not come looking for me later. Click. Valerie looked panicked. That was Tyron. So what do you and I think? Will Leo survive this ruthless boss? Trust me, it gets wild. All right, stick with me here. He wants to play tough, he can face the consequences, Claire stubbornly insisted. No one mentions his name in this house again. She turned and marched upstairs, but inside her bedroom, Claire was an absolute mess. That massive financial loss totally triggered her chronic insomnia, a terrible condition she had completely beaten years ago. Rubbing her temples, she reached for a random magazine on the nightstand. Flipping through the pages, she frowned hard and instantly called her maid. Auntie Lou, what is wrong with this magazine? The maid looked totally nervous. I am so sorry, miss. For years, the young master always handpicked the magazines for your nightstand. Since he is gone now, I just grabbed a random one off the shelf. Claire completely froze, waving the poor maid away. Could it actually be? Was her flawless stock market winning streak somehow tied to Leo? She scrambled to grab all the old magazines he left behind, frantically cross-referencing them with historical stock market data. Half an hour later, Claire sat on the floor absolutely completely stunned. She realized that out of 20 stocks casually highlighted in those magazines every single night, exactly 10 would absolutely skyrocket the very next day. The other 10 remained totally stable. Her genius Wall Street success was secretly spoon-fed to her by Leo this entire time. No, impossible. Claire shook her head in pure denial. I have to prove my success comes from me and my team, not him. She stood up, her eyes totally conflicted, and marched right out of the room. Tracy, you are a cop. Take a drive down there, make sure he survives. I do not care if they break his legs, but he must stay standing long enough to apologize to Kevin. Now watch closely, things are really heating up. Over a dozen cargo trucks screeched to a halt under the night sky. 100 armed thugs poured out, looking absolutely ready to riot. Tonight is going to be incredibly educational. Bald Tyron, wearing his signature tight floral shirt, twitched his lip. Someone actually dared to touch my men on West Side. Tonight I will show these absolute peasants what happens when you mess with me. Lou, get out here, Tyron roared loudly. Shh, keep it completely down. The neighbors are sleeping right now. I smiled casually, stepping straight out of the shadows. I heard Claire kicked your sorry butt away. Tyron sneered casually, lighting a cigar. Is that actually true? You heard right. Nodding. Then if you are not a Lincoln anymore, where did you find the guts to touch my guys? Tyron flicked his ash, chuckling darkly. You are the absolute first idiot to disrespect me here. If you do not fall tonight, I will look like a joke to everyone. If you cannot look like a joke, then just be one, I replied smoothly. Without warning, I delivered a spinning kick. Tyron, completely off guard, was launched 15 feet right into the air, landing with a sickening thud and spitting out a mouthful of dirt. Leo, without the links, you are absolute nothing. Tyron wheezed in pure agony. Attack! Who said I need the links to avoid being bullied? I casually dusted off my jacket. The West Side is my territory. I have 100 loyal men. Tyron roared back. Yeah, and I have serious money. I have power. What do you have to fight me with? Tyron screamed, men charging forward. I want you totally finished. I did not even flinch. I just smiled and tilted my head. Look behind you. You saw this coming, right? A man in a sharp suit parted the sea of thugs, dropping straight to one knee. Greetings, boss. Tyron wiped dust from his mouth and laughed. Leo, do you think I am 3 years old? You hired an actor to scare me. Boys show him what real power looks like. I just looked at him with absolute pure pity. The man in the suit stood up and fired a flare gun straight into the night sky. As the flare illuminated everything, the ground began to tremble. Boss, is it an earthquake? One of the thugs stammered nervously, looking down at his feet. An earthquake in the middle of the city? Tyron yelled out. Leo, stop playing parlor tricks. Go see what is happening. He shoved a grunt forward. 30 seconds passed. The grunt never returned. Tyron gulped, gripping his steel pipe. Follow me. But his men simply did not move forward. They were backing up instead. Tyron aggressively shoved his way to the very front. Seeing what was waiting, sweat instantly beaded on his bald head. Blocking the streets were men in tailored black suits. Not 10, not even 50. There were so incredibly many that they faded right into the darkness at the end of the block. This is impossible, Tyron stammered, completely horrified. I casually strolled past the paralyzed gang. Suddenly, thousands of men in black suits dropped to one knee in perfect, terrifying unison. I closed my eyes, slowly spreading my arms wide. Years ago, I secretly built this massive syndicate from the ground up, hoping that one day when the old man passed, I could protect the Lincoln family. But now that family did not need me anymore. Take out the trash, I ordered coldly. So what do we make of this? Thousands of machetes were drawn simultaneously, making half his thugs completely collapse. In less than 5 seconds, stick with me. You are about to watch over 100 thugs rapidly reconsider their life choices, vanishing under a sea of dark suits without any noise. Tyron went totally pale. He crashed to his knees, shaking uncontrollably. "Boss, I was completely blind. Please just let me go." He slammed his head on the concrete, bowing frantically. "I will be your loyal dog, anything." I just glared down at him, totally unimpressed. In this city, Leo is gone. There is only the boss. Speak up. Why were you bothering Uncle Harry? "It was your adoptive mother's strict orders," Tyron babbled, trembling like crazy. "Victoria paid me $5 million to make his life a total nightmare. The Lincolns are way too strong, I just obeyed." "Boss, if that wicked woman kicked you out, spare me, I can help you teach her a lesson." He smashed his head even harder against the floor. "Give me one chance." I simply stared at this pathetic guy. Reaching out, I grabbed a silenced pistol from Blake, my loyal right-hand man. Boom. Tyron was quickly given a very permanent nap. "Boss Tracy Lincoln is driving over here." "She will be here in 5 minutes," Blake whispered, checking his phone. I chuckled coldly, shaking my head. Coming to see me totally destroyed. Figured, Blake, clean up this mess. Starting tomorrow, Tyron's turf is officially yours. My rules are now the city's absolute law. I grabbed a silk handkerchief from my pocket, casually wiped some dust off my hands, and walked right toward the stairs. "Understood?" Blake nodded. Those thousands of men vanished like a fading tide, carrying the sleeping thugs away and leaving the street completely spotless. Watch closely, Uncle Harry couldn't stand the suspense. He snatched his big meat cleaver and ripped the door open, fully ready to brawl. I had just raised my hand to knock. "Leo, are you all right?" Harry gasped loudly, checking me up and down. "Never better. It was honestly just a massive misunderstanding." I smiled warmly at him. "We talked things out. Tyron decided to find a new hobby and left. We can finally live peacefully." He left. Harry scratched his head, totally confused. "Are we eating now? I am starving." I patted my stomach casually, strolling past him inside. Hazel basically tackled me with happy tears. "I knew you would never lie to me." Realizing she was hugging me way too tight in front of her folks, she blushed hard and backed away. Let's eat. Come sit down." "We are celebrating tonight." Harry happily grabbed an old dusty bottle of cheap liquor and poured me a full glass. "Thanks, Uncle." I raised my glass, accidentally locking eyes with Hazel. "What got your sights on my daughter?" Harry laughed loudly. "Tell you what, when Hazel graduates, you two should absolutely get married." Meanwhile, right outside the beautiful view apartments, a very sleek white Mercedes aggressively slammed on its brakes. Tracy Lincoln kicked her car door open, scanning the slightly messy street with total disgust. Suddenly, she caught a very faint scent of danger in the air. You and I know she is panicking. Expecting the worst, Tracy sprinted straight upstairs and hammered wildly on that door. Inside the room, Harry nearly jumped out of his skin, grabbing his cleaver again. "Is Tyron back?" "Relax." "Tyron swore he is never coming back," I said casually, checking my watch. I stood up and opened the door. "Leo, what are you doing here?" Tracy stared at me, completely stunned to find me standing there in one piece. Not defeated. "Do you need something?" I asked coldly. "If not, do not interrupt my dinner." "Leo, you have some nerve." Tracy scowled hard. "Is that how you speak to me?" "Why wouldn't I?" I sneered back. "Who are you? The Queen of England? Everyone has to bow when you walk by." Slam. I shut the heavy door right in her face. "Leo, I came out of pity to help, and this is how you repay me." Tracy screamed at the door, absolutely furious. She stomped angrily downstairs. "I refuse to believe you can survive in this pathetic dump. When you come crawling back in tears, I will truly make you regret this." Jumping back inside her car, Tracy quickly dialed her subordinate. "Track Tyron's movements tonight. I want a full report by morning." It was 2 a.m. By the time Tracy finally returned to the massive mansion, the lights were still brightly shining. "Valerie, do you not have an art exhibition tomorrow? Why are you still awake?" Tracy asked, noticing her 7th sister intensely painting right in the living room. "These colors are completely wrong." Valerie ripped the canvas off the easel, tearing it up in frustration. I have been adjusting it all night and it still looks awful. How did you manage before? Tracy asked, grabbing a cold Coke from the fridge. Valerie instantly froze. She suddenly remembered that whenever she painted in the past, Leo was standing right beside her. He didn't just praise her art, he actually mixed her paints for her. Valerie, are you okay? Tracy waved a hand past her face. I am fine. Valerie forced a fake smile. Leo is an ungrateful jerk. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Tracy nodded. He totally sucked up to stay in our house, and the second he leaves, he turns on us completely. But third sister Valerie nervously bit her lip. Why do we always assume the worst about him? Is it possible that he actually cared about us? So what do we think? Tracy scoffed. Valerie, I am warning you, he is not our brother, Kevin is. Trust me, you are going to see this dramatic family fall completely apart. Do they ever consider Leo's true feelings? Valerie grabbed her art easel and retreated upstairs. Meanwhile, in the main bedroom, Claire was tossing around in pure agony. Eldest sister, are you finally feeling any better right now? Rachel asked with deep worry, standing closely nearby. I gave you sedatives and strong sleeping pills. They should work soon. As the city hospital vice president, Rachel felt entirely useless for the very first time in her entire life. Just go home, Rachel. I will be perfectly fine resting here. Claire forced a weak smile, waving her away and shutting her eyes. Rest well, Rachel sighed heavily, flicking off the lights and completely closing the door. Walking through the kitchen, Rachel spotted Claire's teacup resting on the counter. She casually picked it up and sniffed. Herbal medicine. Second miss, do you need something? The nervous maid asked quietly. Who brewed this mysterious tea? Rachel demanded, showing her the cup. Why, young Master Leo actually made it. Every single night he brewed a cup for the eldest miss. Since he was not here tonight, I just made random tea instead. Rachel's expression instantly turned incredibly dark and serious. Do not tell anyone about this, got it. Now watch closely because this vial changes everything. She packed the leftover liquid for the hospital lab to uncover Leo's secret. Next morning, Valerie quietly drove her Mini Cooper far away from the massive mansion. Although her sisters warned her about Leo's terrible new neighborhood, the harsh reality of this completely run-down apartment block absolutely shocked her privileged mind. Hiding her obvious discomfort, she stood nervously before the peeling door. Right as it creaked open, she completely panicked and dashed down the stairs, crashing directly into someone. Oh my gosh, sorry. She looked up and totally froze in shock. It was me. I carried a plastic bag of soy milk and fresh fried dough sticks. Did you actually come down here to force me into apologizing to Kevin? I asked with a completely blank expression. No, Valerie shook her head fast. Whether you believe it or not, I had zero part in throwing you out. Oh, so you just stood by and quietly watched. Understood, I offered a tiny half smile. No, living in this place must be totally awful and you must resent us. Let me stop you right there. I quickly cut her off. I do not resent you at all. Actually, thanks. You guys helped me finally realize who genuinely cares about me and who absolutely does not care at all. If you have no real business here, please just stay entirely out of my life. I casually walked past her, heading straight up the stairs. Leo, wait. Valerie gathered her courage and chased me. My art exhibition is in 2 hours. Just wish me luck. Good luck, I said in a flat tone. This gallery is super important, but I cannot get the colors right, she awkwardly mumbled. And how exactly is that my problem? I checked my soy milk. It was getting cold. Could you please just help me mix that paint one last time, just once? I am begging you here. Valerie's eyes teared up. Do you actually know why those flowers in your paintings are always so vibrantly red? I questioned. She shook her head. How could you? Because that brilliant red is my own pure life force. I watched her jaw drop. I studied under the old master. I searched this entire city to find the best ingredients for your paints. Even those canvases were custom ordered by me. You and I both know she completely deserved this harsh reality check. Pretty funny, right? I mocked myself. More than 10 years in that massive house, and did any of you ever bother to notice what I was actually doing? Tears washed down Valerie's face. She turned around in a total daze. Hey, wait! I called out loudly. You will actually help me. Valerie wiped her eyes, feeling hopeful. Valerie, you definitely would not want your 6 sisters and Victoria discovering you sneaked all the way over here, right? I smirked so coldly. What exactly do you want? Valerie stepped back in pure panic, totally stunned. Even if we are not biologically related, I am still your sister. Are you seriously trying to blackmail me? I confidently raised an eyebrow. Do not flatter yourself. 2 simple rules. Number 1, whatever you heard today stays completely silent. 2, you raised me. Fine, but I paid off that massive debt. Starting today, we are total strangers to each other. Valerie froze, sobbing super hard. Leo, you were never ever like this before. She choked. That old version of Leo is entirely gone, I stated, turning my back and walking off. You made this choice. From today, Leo is ancient history here. Valerie dashed to her car, collapsed heavily over the steering wheel, and cried uncontrollably. After breakfast, I took the city bus with Hazel to drop her at school. I felt zero sympathy for Valerie and her tears. The exact second I marched out of those Lincoln gates, I knew I could never forgive them. Brother Leo used to be a wealthy young master, and now you are squeezing onto this crowded bus with me. Hazel beamed, her face radiating absolute joy. Just wait. When I graduate and make money, I will buy you a house, a car, and be your sugar mama. I laughed loudly, gently flicking her forehead. And what exactly is your boyfriend going to say about that? What boyfriend? Hazel put her hands on her hips, glaring right at me. Hey, you already stole my very first kiss. Are you trying to dodge responsibility? I was completely ambushed. When was I ever the guilty party? So what do we think, will he finally find happiness? Hazel blushed deeply and started playfully pummeling my chest with her tiny little fists. Stick with me. We are diving into an insane revenge story. I yanked her onto the bus, barely dodging those raging bullies. Safe inside, I casually tested the waters. Hey, what if I moved you and your family into a totally massive, luxurious house? Think they would agree? Hazel instantly tensed up. Did you take any money from Lincoln? Nothing? I shook my head no. Hazel exhaled, totally relieved. Even if we go hungry, we refuse their charity. After how they treated you, my folks would rather sleep outside. What if the cash is actually mine? I asked. Hazel just blinked. Do you honestly think my dad buys that? I smiled awkwardly. Fair point. How does a guy kicked out with absolutely nothing suddenly become rich? I had to gently ease her family into the crazy reality of my bank account. Look, unzipping my backpack on my lap, I showed her. Holy wow. Hazel stared in absolute shock and wonder. Tucked right inside were perfectly neat stacks of cold, hard cash. Easily a few $100,000. Leo, you didn't do anything super illegal, right? She whispered, tears forming in her eyes. What is going on in your head? I sighed. Yesterday, after I convinced Tyron to leave, he finally realized he wronged your family and returned it all. Principal plus interest $400,000. This is your family's money. Was he really that agreeable? Hazel muttered suspiciously, pouting hard. I swear he was a reasonable guy. Here is where it gets interesting for us. If I hand this to your dad, he refuses, I said, shoving the bag into her arms. You handle it. Bright and early outside the City Foreign Language University front gates. We barely stepped onto campus when some preppy guy with a giant bouquet of flowers strutted right over to us. Hazel, is this your brother? Dripping in expensive designer clothes, he eyed me up and down like absolute trash. No, he is actually my boyfriend. Hazel smoothly linked her arm through mine, flashing a stunning smile. Can I help you? No, not really. Just bought these on the way here. The guy forced a painfully awkward smile. This was the infamous Tyler Sterling. He chased Hazel for 6 whole months with 0 success. His smile turned totally sinister. I will not bother you then. Tyler turned away instantly, pulling out his phone to text someone. That little brat wants to play hard to get. Fine, we do this the hard way. Suddenly, in a quiet alley outside campus, a black Mercedes screeched to a halt right beside me. The doors flew open. Tyler stepped out of the back, flanked by 2 absolute meathead bodyguards. You know what comes next, right? Tyler sneered, waving his hand. Those 2 massive goons cracked their knuckles and lunged. I do not care about your relationship with Hazel. Tyler totally mocked me, hands firmly in pockets. Today you get an education. If I ever see your face near this campus again, you get a repeat lesson. He smugly popped 2 buttons on his expensive shirt. Know why I picked this alley? Why I asked, totally bored. Because there are 0 cameras. Tyler gave this arrogant, self-satisfied smirk. We can beat you down and you will not have any proof at all. In the very next microsecond, I moved. I grabbed both bodyguards by their heads and violently slammed them face first into the hard brick wall. Boom! They crumpled to the ground instantly. Tyler stared in pure shock, his eyes bulging like he saw a ghost. What are you doing? I grabbed him right by his perfectly styled hair and completely smashed his face directly into that fancy Mercedes windshield. The entire glass shattered into spiderweb pieces. Tyler went totally limp on the hood, his face a bruised mess. I calmly wiped some dirt off my hand, turned around, and just vanished down the alley. Meanwhile, right behind the school building, several mean girls completely blocked Hazel. Wendy, the arrogant student council president, simply smirked. "Hazel, someone reported you for stealing cash. Time for a search." "Who reported me?" Hazel frowned. "Does not matter. That money is definitely on you." "Take your jacket off," Wendy demanded, crossing her arms. She hated Hazel for years, and now she actually had the principal backing her up to cause trouble. "If you really want to search me, call the cops." Hazel tried pushing past them. "Move! I have class. We all know your parents are completely broke," Wendy coldly sneered. "A disabled dad and useless mom. If you need money that badly with your pretty face, just go easily sell yourself somewhere." Hazel was furious. She delivered an absolute lightning-fast kick straight to Wendy's chest. Wendy shrieked and instantly fell backward. "Get her 6." Student council members quickly swarmed Hazel, 2 of them easily pushing 200 pounds. "Been itching for a real fight, right?" Hazel gritted her teeth, slowly pulling a solid wooden baton straight out of her backpack. Half a minute later, Hazel wiped some dust from her bruised lip and slowly limped toward her classroom. Behind her, several girls were painfully writhing on the floor, groaning loud, sporting some severely swollen facial injuries. "Stop right there." A few security guards immediately ran over, looking grim. "Come with us to the office." At the Five Continents International Clubhouse, guys in sharp black suits led dozens of intimidating guards. "That is where we pause, trust me. You are going to want to see what happens next. Stick with me." The West Side gang leaders are all gathered in the conference room, Blake whispered. They remain stubborn, completely refusing to cooperate. I chuckled coldly. "Tyron is gone. What can they possibly do?" I confidently pushed the double doors open. The loud, chaotic arguing inside instantly stopped. Dozens of eyes locked onto me. I casually strolled to Tyron's old seat at the head of the table, sat down, and swept a freezing gaze across everyone. Tyron is now permanently out of the picture. Starting today, the West Side belongs to me. Anyone got a problem with that? A middle-aged guy stood up, scoffing loudly. Based on exactly what? "Rumor says you are just garbage the Lincoln family threw away." A few mocking chuckles echoed right through the room. The Lincoln family's stray dog wants to play mob boss. Before their laughter could even finish, I unsheathed Blake's sharp katana and swung hard. Slash, the guy who just spoke suddenly found himself missing his right arm. Crimson stained the mahogany table. He dropped to his knees, screaming in pure agony as my men dragged him outside. The entire conference room went completely and totally silent. The men who were mocking me seconds ago now looked like they were attending their worst nightmares. Any other objections? I leaned back in my chair, slowly sliding the katana back into its scabbard. Pure silence. No objections. Good. The West Side is mine. Anyone who betrays me gets an early permanent vacation underground. Just then, a panicked guard rushed right into the room. "Boss, a guy named Thomas Sterling wants to see the second-in-command Cole. Should I let him inside?" On my way here, I ran a background check on that fool Tyler Sterling. Anyone threatening Hazel had absolutely zero right to breathe my fresh air. Now watch this part closely. Outside the clubhouse, Thomas Sterling paced anxiously right next to his completely bandaged son, Tyler. "Dad, you have to help me get my payback," Tyler hissed through his swollen jaw. "Relax. I called the local underworld. I will easily handle this," Thomas huffed. "Nobody touches my son and gets away with it." The heavy clubhouse doors slowly opened. "The boss invites you inside," a guard said. Thomas frowned, whispering directly to Tyler. "Who is the boss? Since when did the West Side have a guy just called boss?" Inside the conference room, the tense atmosphere was so incredibly thick you could cut it with a knife. Thomas ignored the tension, marching straight up to second-in-command, Cole grabbing his arm. "My son got beaten mercilessly," Thomas aggressively demanded. "I need you to eliminate the guy who did it. I'm paying $1 million. Tyler dropped down, crying very dramatically. "Uncle Cole, look what he did to me. You must help me get some payback." The Sterling family was incredibly wealthy and legitimate business. They could easily ruin someone financially, but for a takedown, they needed the West Side underworld. Thomas came personally because he absolutely hated seeing his precious son hurt. "Once this guy is gone, I am making Hazel mine," Tyler thought, a sick grin forming under his bandages. "My life is only worth $1 million, a freezing cold voice cut through the room. Tyler looked up and his eyes nearly popped out of his skull. He pointed a trembling finger at me. Dad, that is him. He is the one who did this, Cole Thomas barked. You saw that shift coming, right? Cole had already dropped down, sweating profusely. Boss, I do not know these guys. I swear, what are you doing? Thomas was baffled. The ruthless Cole was terrified of this kid. I do not know you people, Cole screamed, desperate to sever ties. The heavy conference room doors slammed completely shut. The atmosphere was a powder keg. Whoever helps me take down this kid gets exactly 5 million toll. Thomas slammed his hand onto the table, shouting at the room. Nobody moved a single muscle. You think your money means anything here? I slowly stood up. Boss, dozens of gang leaders stood up simultaneously, shouting in perfect unison. Thomas's face completely drained of color. His voice trembled. You hear the boss? Blake drew his blade, the steel gleaming as he advanced on the terrified father and son. Please do not hurt me. Tyler collapsed, smashing his head against the floor in a desperate bow. Boss, I was totally wrong. I will never bother Hazel again, please. Thomas, slightly more composed, wiped his sweat and forced a nervous, fawning smile. Boss, just name your price. Consider it an apology from the Sterling family. I shook my head, taking the blade from Blake. I am afraid you would be too heartbroken losing your son. Let me do you a huge favor and send you both packing together. The blade flashed, justice struck. Thomas Sterling hit the cold floor, permanently silenced. I walked over to the shivering Tyler and looked down at him with icy eyes. This morning you told me to remember your name. Yeah, I remembered. The katana drove straight through his jacket, pinning him to the heavy wooden door. The entire room was completely paralyzed with fear. Nobody dared to even breathe. The Sterling family came looking for trouble and ended up scheduling a very sudden family reunion far away. I casually wiped the mess right off my face with a tissue. Did absolutely everyone see that clearly? Crystal clear, the room shouted, voices shaking. Wild right. Then my phone rang. Let's dive into this. The caller ID read, Sister Grace Lincoln, professor at City Foreign Language University. I frowned, answering her freezing voice. Leo, are you close with Hazel? None of your business, I replied flatly. She just took down 7 student council members. The school is kicking her out, Grace said, getting super arrogant. If you apologize to Mom and Kevin, I can pull some strings and help. Grace, you are absolutely despicable. I gripped my phone, my voice dropping below freezing. Do not get the wrong idea, Grace raised her voice defensively. I am only doing this out of respect for the old man. I am giving you a chance. I slammed the table, laughing coldly. Keep it. I will handle things my way. Blake, get the cars ready. We are heading to the university, I roared. Blake instantly scrambled to mobilize everyone. Boss, what are we doing at a school? A brave underling asked. We are exterminating some annoying pests, I replied. You are going to want to see this. Outside the main university administration building, Grace stood holding books, frowning as her phone suddenly beeped. The number you dialed is switched off. She redialed, highly annoyed. Leo, if you just bow to Kevin, I can hide this from Claire and help you out this once. What is this absolute nonsense? My recorded voice echoed in my head. Whatever, Grace scoffed to herself. If I did not want to see you looking so pathetic, I would pass. Keep your pity because I do not need it, I had told her. The second I left the Lincoln house, we ceased to exist entirely. Click. Grace was still fuming when a black Range Rover sped past, completely splashing a massive muddy puddle all over her expensive designer outfit. Before she could even scream, an entire convoy of identical vehicles roared past. Are they totally insane? Grace shrieked, wiping mud off her face. But looking up, she froze. Hundreds of black Range Rovers parked in perfect formation, totally blockading the administration building. The doors swung open completely simultaneously. Nearly 1,000 guys in sharp black suits and sunglasses stepped out, lining up with insanely perfect military precision. The lead car door opened. I stepped out, pale but eyes burning with intense fury, and I strode directly toward the main principal office. Meanwhile, inside his office, Principal Foster was casually smoking a cigarette. Standing right in front of him were 7 battered student council members. Some had casts, some held their ribs, and 2 had heads wrapped in bandages. Wendy, are you telling me Hazel beat all 7 of you like this? You and I are thinking the same thing. One girl did this, Principal, she had a baton in her bag. Wendy gritted her teeth. She fought like an absolute maniac. Calm down. Foster waved his hand. I already called the cops. When they arrive, you tell them she was extorting you. And when you tried to stop her, she completely attacked. He tapped his desk folder. Hazel will officially be expelled tonight. Here is $7,000 to split for your medical bills. Take 2 weeks off." The 7 girls cheered, thanking him happily. Boom! The heavy oak office door exploded inward, totally shattering into splinters. I walked right in, flanked by massive guys in black suits. "Principal Foster," I said, my voice dangerously calm. Foster looked completely shocked, then recognized me. "Leo, you have some serious nerve breaking into my office." He slammed his desk, acting tough. "If you do not give me a good explanation, you are not walking out of here, okay?" He reached for his phone to call security, but there was zero signal. "What do you think you are doing?" Foster pointed a shaky finger right at me. I stayed silent. I grabbed the expulsion folder from his desk, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it. "Cancel this order? Are you joking? I am absolutely expelling that girl." Foster completely scoffed. "Not only that, I am having her arrested, she is going away." I picked up the heavy ceramic teapot from his desk and smashed it directly over his head. He was instantly deeply injured and bruised. Foster staggered and collapsed onto the sofa, his ears ringing. The 7 girls shrieked, backing into a corner, completely trembling like tiny leaves. "I am not negotiating with you." I grabbed a wooden chair and brought it down incredibly hard right onto his chest. A high-pitched scream echoed through the office. The 7 girls turned ghostly pale, way too terrified to even look. On the ruined sofa, Foster clutched his deeply injured head. Sweat and tears mixed on his bruised face. He frantically wiped it, his eyes burning with absolute pure rage. "Leo, even if Grace gets on her knees and begs, you are finished." Foster tried to bluff through the intense pain. "You think you can scare me? The cops are almost here. Let us see how cocky you are in shiny handcuffs." I just looked at him coldly. I slowly walked over, casually leaning both hands right on his desk. I think intentional assault is a bit too light of a charge for me. Foster felt his heart skip. Panic set in. "Pictures," I commanded. Blake stepped up and handed me a stack of photos. I flipped through them quickly, then shoved them right into my pocket. "Trust me, you will want to see what happens next." Blake walked toward the cowering girls. "What do you want?" Wendy asked, trembling. "Stick with me here, you are about to witness absolute payback." I shattered the glass, grabbed Wendy by her collar, and threw her straight out the window. A heavy thud echoed. "No exceptions," I stated coldly, keeping both my hands behind my back. "Blake, make them fly. We were wrong. Please spare us." The other 6 girls dropped to their shaking knees. "The principal ordered us, and Hazel started it. She is the person I fiercely protect in the palm of my hand," I replied in a chilling whisper. "You harmed her. You expect mercy?" 6 more figures were rapidly thrown right out the freshly shattered window. 6 heavy thuds echoed in rapid succession. Thankfully, they mostly landed in bushes. Principal Foster watched the entire scene happen. His body went limp on the couch, heart pounding so wildly he thought it would completely burst. Those 7 girls who bullied Hazel were now permanently kicked out. I turned to Foster and lightly patted his shoulder. "Principal Foster, did you hear me clearly?" "Yes, completely loud and clear." Foster nodded wildly, his teeth chattering. I gripped his collar, dragging him right to the window. "I am the bad guy here, and you are the only witness. If I get locked up, my 1,000 men down there will absolutely destroy your entire life. Do not ever test me." Foster shook violently, a freezing sweat soaking his back. "Watch closely as the tables turn." He completely froze. "You have 1 hour to clear Hazel and expel those 7 bullies," I commanded in a cold voice. "Oh, and obviously I expect Hazel to receive the absolute highest scholarship you offer." "Yes, of course," Foster sobbed, completely shattered. I calmly straightened my suit and walked out. Minutes later, hundreds of Range Rovers roared to life and left the campus, restoring an eerie peace. 10 minutes later, police sirens blasted onto the campus. In the lead cruiser, Tracy ordered her partner to park. She jumped out and rushed toward Grace, who looked like a total mess. "Grace, what happened to you?" Tracy gasped. A massive convoy of cars just sped past and splashed mud all over me. Grace sighed, staring at her ruined clothes. "And I just changed too, right?" "Are you here about the Hazel situation?" Grace suddenly asked. "Yeah." Tracy narrowed her eyes. "Why were you going to beg for mercy for that totally ungrateful brat?" Grace shook her head. "I tried to help, but he threw my advice back in my face." "Good," Tracy scoffed. "Let us see how long he can act tough." Tracy sneered. "I hope he does not come crying later." Just as they were talking, a loud scream pierced the air. Students just fell out. Principal Foster ran from the building, his face totally bruised, looking completely unhinged and like he had lost his mind. "Principal Foster, what happened?" Grace quickly rushed over. Those student council girls heard they were getting expelled, panicked, and fell. Foster babbled like an absolute madman. I tried stopping them, but I got attacked. Without another word, he sprinted toward the campus gates, muttering angry curses at Thomas Stursling. He urgently needed to flee the city to avoid the fallout. Right at that moment, a massive dump truck came hurtling down the street, blasting straight through Red. Did we just see that? The truck slammed, Foster sending him flying 30 feet through the air. Grace completely froze her books, dropping straight into the muddy ground below. She reached up and touched her cheek. It was splattered with red. Tracy quickly snapped back to reality. "Arrest that driver!" she screamed. The campus erupted into total chaos. As a veteran cop, Tracy felt a terrible premonition. The principal leaves his office and instantly gets hit. The truck speeding was clearly a planned attack. "Captain, we got him." 2 officers dragged over a driver who reeked heavily of cheap booze. "Deliberate hit." Tracy grabbed the driver by his jaw, her voice lethal. "Who sent you? I am just drunk," the driver slurred. "Take me to jail." "Lock him up," Tracy ordered, sprinting toward the administration building. As she ran, Grace doubled over and vomited violently, the shock of the messy accident finally hitting. She passed out cold on the pavement by the city sculpture park. I jumped out of the car, my eyes instantly locking onto Hazel sitting like a fragile silhouette on a bench by the lake. A sharp ache pierced my chest. "Boss, I had men watching her since she left the school," Blake whispered in a very respectful tone. "She has not done anything, just staring at the water. Give us a minute." I waved them off and walked right over to the bench. The wind off the lake carried a biting chill. Hazel had messy hair and her pristine white dress was stained mostly from those 7 bullies. Her eyes looked totally empty. "Why did you not go to the hospital?" I sat down next to her, my voice full of ache. "Just a few scratches." "I am fine." Hazel turned and forced a gentle smile. "Brother Leo, how did you find me?" Her voice was soft, but the pure exhaustion in her eyes was totally impossible to hide. "I asked why you avoided the hospital," I repeated. "It costs money," she mumbled. "And honestly, that just breaks our hearts entirely." "Stick with me here. You got our 400,000 back, but my dad's leg, we can't afford weakness." She looked up, fighting hard to keep that smile glowing. "Honestly, I used to scrap all the time. I'm totally used to it. If folks like us aren't fierce and incredibly strong, we just get crushed." She playfully stuck her tongue out. "Brother Leo, do you think I am way too violent? Not exactly the fancy Lincoln ladies you are used to, huh? Did I look awesome winning today?" I gently held her hand, keeping my voice super low. "Why skip the hospital?" Her tough act completely shattered and heavy tears finally spilled over. Throwing her arms right around my neck, she sobbed uncontrollably. "Brother Leo, they can insult me all day, but never my dad. They called him totally useless, but he carries our whole family. I had to teach those girls a lesson. I needed to show them poor folks have real dignity too. We are not just doormats for stepping on, but Brother Leo, I got expelled." Her voice grew so quiet, shaking with every single sob. "I studied incredibly hard, but with just one sentence, they totally ruined my entire future." I patted her back, my heart totally aching. "Is this how the poor are forced to live? Nobody is going to bully you." Wiping away her tears, my voice dropped incredibly soft. "Just trust me." Click-clack, high heels echoed right behind us. I looked everywhere, and "You are here playing Romeo." An intensely angry voice interrupted. "Now watch this closely." I didn't even need to turn around. Rachel Lincoln. Rocking a tight black dress-tailored blouse and signature gold-rimmed glasses, she radiated pure, arrogant energy. "The eldest lady has arrived. Better step aside." Hazel just leaned back, chuckling softly. Her fierce aura completely refused to be suppressed by Rachel at all. Rachel glared daggers at me. "Leo, I am talking to you. Are you deaf only to you?" I casually replied. "Miss Lincoln, this isn't your fancy mansion and definitely not your hospital. I am neither your subordinate nor your patient. State your business or stop ruining my perfect sunset." I stood up, ready to leave. "Leo, you never acted like this." Rachel's voice trembled with absolute anger and deep disappointment. "Used to be," I laughed incredibly coldly. "Yeah, that was before. Just because we kicked you out, you hold this ridiculous grudge." Rachel sneered, her voice shaking. "You are seriously petty. We gave you over a decade of pure luxury, and this is how you repay us." I looked back, my eyes completely devoid of warmth. Mrs. Lincoln, do you honestly think I cared about your luxury? For over 10 years, you treated me way worse than a random stray dog. The old Leo vanished the second you threw me out. Grabbing Hazel's hand, I turned to walk away. Stop! Rachel lunged forward, blocking my path, her massive pride refusing to accept defeat. Do you have to be this ruthless? What is the point here? I asked first that tea eldest sister drinks. You made it right. Rachel extended her hand, her tone completely demanding. Give me the recipe. I smirked, a mocking laugh escaping my lips. Me? But I am just a useless piece of trash. A stray begging for scraps. Are you saying the brilliant vice president of the city hospital actually needs help from me? Rachel's face flushed bright red. Her fists clenched so intensely that her knuckles turned white. Leo, if humiliating me makes you feel better, fine. I accept it. Staring straight into my eyes, she added, but eldest sister is suffering from insomnia. Cannot you find a way to help her out? Rachel took a deep breath, actually thinking I might soften up. You hear this? If you help, we might forgive you. I burst out laughing, my eyes full of pure mockery. You seriously think your insomnia magically cures itself? For over a decade, I gave absolutely everything for your ungrateful family. And did any of you ever care? Go away. Stop intruding on my life. Leo, what do you want? Rachel screamed, completely losing all control. Money. Whatever you want, just cure Claire. I will give you everything. Dropping to her knees, she ground her teeth. Is this what you wanted? Are you completely satisfied now? I turned away, my voice dropping to freezing temperatures. Rachel, since I stopped caring whether you thrive or fall apart does not move me an inch. Wrapping my arm around Hazel, I walked away, leaving Rachel kneeling alone in the sunset, looking utterly pathetic. What else were we supposed to do? Rachel muttered to herself, heavy tears falling freely. Mom told you to leave. Who would dare argue with her? In the distance, Hazel spoke up incredibly softly. Brother Leo, are you really never going to forgive them? I smiled, gently ruffling her hair. There is no medicine for regret in this world. Spilled water cannot be gathered back. Besides, without them doing that, I never would have met you. Hazel giggled mischievously. By the way, who exactly is Blake? Oh, just an old buddy from the orphanage. I lied incredibly smoothly. Feeling hungry. Let's go grab some late-night snacks. Let me call Mom and say I am skipping dinner tonight. Hazel nodded enthusiastically. Brother Leo, can I use your phone? I blinked, looking around the empty park. You want to call her right now using my phone? What on earth are you thinking? What a wild ride, right? Hazel stuck her tongue out, grabbing my hand. Let's go, I was starving at the Lincoln Mansion. Let's dive into this wild story together. Rachel burst through the doors looking exhausted. The house was mysteriously quiet. Victoria wasn't around. Kevin staying out all night partying was basically his normal routine. Her sisters were waiting at the hospital because Grace had suddenly collapsed into a coma. Rachel practically sprinted straight into the first-floor spare room, the very place where Old Man Lincoln once lived. After he passed away, Claire kept everything exactly the same. Nobody dared to touch it, even though it got cleaned regularly. Rachel walked straight to the bookshelf, frantically scanning the old dusty tomes. Hidden among old paper trinkets was a severely worn notebook. She quickly grabbed it, flipped it open, and a DVD dropped out. She quickly picked up the disc, rushed into the living room, and shoved it inside the DVD player. She sat on the sofa, eyes glued completely to the screen. The screen suddenly flickered to life. Old Man Lincoln appeared wearing a simple linen shirt, sitting cross-legged on his bed. He looked incredibly gentle. By the time you girls see this, I will likely be gone. The greatest treasure I am leaving behind is not money. It is your brother Leo. He rarely speaks. He keeps everything completely locked inside. To cure Claire's insomnia, he secretly tested experimental herbal remedies on himself. He nearly lost his life multiple times. I had to resuscitate him. He always said his only true family was me, Victoria, and all 7 of you. That is why he willingly endured anything. Tears streamed directly down Rachel's face. The old man sighed heavily. Rachel, you always thought highly of yourself. You studied Western medicine and truly believed you knew better than me. Watch this twist with me. Every single impossible medical case you could not solve, Leo secretly solved for you. While you slept, he begged me to keep it a secret so he would never hurt your pride. Rachel's hands shook violently. Her heart felt like it was being smashed by a sledgehammer. Your adoptive mother is truly not a good person. The old man on the screen lowered his head, sounding totally defeated. Leo was unfortunately born with a dangerous congenital cold poison condition. Over the years, his lifespan drastically decreased just to save this entire family. He probably only has one single year left. The screen suddenly went black. Rachel froze entirely. Just as she reached to check the player, a loud snap echoed through the room. Victoria stood there with a cold sneer, having just violently snapped the DVD disc right in half and tossed it onto the floor. Rachel, ignore that old fool's nonsense. He has passed away but is still trying to ruin us, Victoria barked. Rachel stared at her adoptive mother in total horror, her voice shaking. Mom, why did you destroy it? How could you? You dare question me, Victoria roared. I am your mother. He was a stray dog. But he is my brother, Rachel screamed. She grabbed her coat and sprinted out the door, tears completely blinding her. Over at City Hospital 1, Rachel practically sprinted inside, only to find her sisters anxiously gathered outside the ICU. Eldest sister. Why aren't you inside? Rachel anxiously asked, feeling heavy dread in her stomach. Grace's medical condition had deteriorated rapidly. She became critically ill and slipped into a coma. They are frantically trying to resuscitate her, Tracy said, grimly, eyes full of worry. What Rachel was completely stunned. She personally checked Grace's vitals just hours ago. Everything was perfectly normal. How did it get this bad so insanely fast? Second sister, where did you run off to? You and I cannot miss this. Claire sat on a plastic chair looking utterly exhausted. That intense insomnia was driving her right to insanity. Eldest sister. Rachel took a very deep breath, swallowing hard. I need to speak with you alone. Claire frowned. We sisters never keep secrets. Just say it. Rachel remained silent, looking down. Eldest sister, it is something I cannot decide alone. Claire gritted her teeth, fighting off a sudden migraine, and immediately stood up. Follow me. Rachel led her into the vice president's office and locked the door. What is it, Rachel? Grace is fading in there, Claire snapped impatiently. Why all this secrecy? Rachel leaned against the wall, looking entirely shattered. Tears spilled over her cheeks. Eldest sister, I found a DVD in Dad's study. A DVD, Claire's brow visibly furrowed. What was on it? Rachel choked back a sob. To cure your insomnia, Leo personally tested experimental drugs on himself. He almost lost his life multiple times. Dad had to save him. Claire looked like she was shot, all color totally drained from her face. My insomnia. You didn't cure it. Rachel shook her head, tears falling freely. To help you, he studied economics in secret. He sneaked into my room while I was sleeping and entirely solved all the impossible medical cases for me. What Claire stumbled backward, gripping a chair to stay upright. He was just a totally useless houseboy. How could he do all that? Do you think Dad would lie to us from beyond the grave? Rachel heavily gritted her teeth. If I was the one who truly cured you, why have I been totally useless at treating your relapse? Now you and I see the truth. Claire stared blankly at the wall, remembering Leo falling mysteriously ill. The timing perfectly matched the worst periods of her severe insomnia. Why didn't he say anything? Claire softly whispered. Stick with me here, you and I are diving into massive family drama. If he just spoke up, we wouldn't have been so cruel. We never even treated him like a real brother. Rachel covered her face, sobbing absolutely uncontrollably. From the very moment we banished him, his heart shattered. She shakily pointed right at the teacup. That tea cured your insomnia, but creating it meant he barely even survived the process. Claire fiercely gripped the wooden desk edge so hard that her knuckles turned completely white. Where is that disc? Mom totally smashed it. Rachel laughed bitterly, aggressively, wiping away her tears. Eldest sister, do you even know what Dad said? He said Leo only has exactly 1 year left. 1 single year. Claire's eyes instantly widened in pure horror, her shaky voice completely catching. Rachel nodded heavily. When we finally banished him, I felt slightly bad. But then his defiant attitude just made me incredibly angry and disappointed. But now I realize how catastrophically wrong we actually were. We threw away the single person who willingly traded his precious life for ours. The entire office fell completely silent. Why didn't he explain? Claire muttered again. Rachel slowly stood up, gazing out the wide window. Because he knew that in our greedy eyes only power and profit mattered. Everything was strictly measured in money. After a heavy silence, Claire walked over, gently squeezing Rachel's shoulder. It is not too late to fix this horrible mistake. In his remaining days, we must absolutely do something. Rachel turned around, eyes totally red. Will you actually tell the others you were the one leading the relentless charge to banish him forever? Let me deeply share this guilt with you. Claire took a shaky, deep breath, offering a pained smile. Suddenly, the massive door crashed open. Valerie rushed inside, absolutely panicking. Eldest sister, second sister, hurry up, it's Grace. Claire practically jolted immediately, sprinting straight toward the ICU. She already lost one brother and fiercely refused to lose her sister. At the door, Dr. Wang was rapidly scribbling on his medical clipboard. Dr. Wang, how is Grace? Rachel urgently demanded. Vice President Lincoln, your sister has secretly battled severe epilepsy for many years. Dr. Wang pulled down his mask, looking at them in total surprise. Did she seriously never mention the epilepsy? Watch closely, this reveal is totally wild. The sisters exchanged completely blindsided looks. Judging by her scans, she's had it for 10 solid years. It was perfectly managed with some incredibly advanced herbal medicine, Dr. Wang carefully explained. Please try remembering if she took anything highly specific. If we find that medicine, we can wake her up. I never saw her take any medicine, Claire passionately insisted, deeply frowning. The 7 sisters never kept hidden secrets. That was the absolute #1 rule the old man heavily drilled into their minds. If Grace had epilepsy, how did she hide it? That's strange, Dr. Wang mused. Her treatment method was absolutely brilliant. Without today's massive emotional shock, she wouldn't have even had another painful episode for at least 6 whole months. Herbal medicine. Claire and Rachel quickly exchanged a look. Both their minds instantly snapped to one specific person, the brother they literally just banished. Leo could. Grace's severe epilepsy actually be managed by Leo too. Normally, Claire would find this entire idea totally absurd, but now she easily connected the dots. Thank you so much, Dr. Wang. Rachel forced a totally polite smile, respectfully seeing him off. The hospital room fell completely quiet. Grace peacefully lay there, eyes closed, like she was simply sleeping. Claire's phone suddenly buzzed loudly. What dropped again? After hanging up, Claire's entire expression turned incredibly dark. Utterly drained, she slumped into a chair. The massive international stock portfolio was in absolute freefall. We all feel the absolute tension here. Go rest, Claire rasped, sounding completely defeated after 2 historically disastrous days. Eldest sister, what is wrong today? Valerie asked carefully. Claire couldn't hold it back anymore. I am going totally insane from sleep deprivation. Grace is in a coma, and my company stock is completely crashing. And I personally banished the only brother, secretly sacrificing absolutely everything for us. Eldest sister, Valerie softly interrupted. Grace always used to wear a little tiny scent sachet. Valerie timidly offered. I don't know if it actually relates to her illness. Where is that sachet? Rachel desperately demanded. Rachel grabbed her shoulders excitedly. That was actually a special gift from Leo for her 10th birthday. After we kicked him out, she threw it away, Valerie answered. Threw it where? Claire's eyes burned with sudden fierce intensity. Probably in our main trash can at home. Valerie shrank back, feeling slightly wronged. Then go find it. Claire quickly grabbed Valerie's face, her shaky voice dropping into a rare, terrifying calmness. If it is the right one, you will save Grace's life. Valerie wiped her tears fiercely, nodded and sprinted straight out of the hospital. Rachel gently patted Claire's back, knowing exactly how emotionally complicated she felt. The brother they treated like dirt had secretly done absolutely everything for them. Meanwhile, Kevin, the brother they gladly welcomed back with wide open arms, was out partying during her severe coma, never even bothering to call once. The stark contrast was blinding. Half an hour later, Valerie found the unemptied trash bin at the huge mansion. She snatches the tiny sachet and sprints. Trust me, we are totally unprepared for what happens next. Stick with me, you and I are about to watch an epic comeback on Central Avenue. I pedaled a rental bike, giving Hazel a ride. She was completely ecstatic, dodging expulsion and snagging a scholarship. She was practically singing the entire ride. Out of nowhere, a black Mercedes zoomed past and slammed the brakes right outside the restaurant. I reacted instantly, swerving the bike just in time to totally dodge a nasty crash. Do you even know how to drive? Hazel jumped off the bike, absolutely furious, yelling at the car. The doors flew open. A man and a woman stepped out. He glanced right at us, sneering coldly. What are you even yelling about? I have $5 million in liability insurance. If I hit you, I will just write a check. He whistled, totally checking Hazel up and down. Riding this piece of junk, come ride in my Benz instead, sweetheart. Kevin, Someone is getting pretty jealous. The girl beside him whined playfully, totally clinging to his arm. You absolute idiot, Hazel's face turned bright red with pure anger. You think having cash makes you royalty? The girl looked up, super surprised. Hazel totally froze. The class rep. The guy took off his sunglasses, revealing a highly punchable, totally smug face. He strolled over, staring me down with pure arrogance. Well, if it is not the stray dog on a rusty bike trying to pick up girls, what a crazy coincidence. Yeah, quite a coincidence, the girl totally chimed in. Kevin, you know him? Realizing Kevin was acting aggressive, Hazel secretly reached into her backpack for her trusty baton but grabbed empty air. I had confiscated it earlier. I just smiled faintly. We are a bit more than acquainted. Kevin sneered casually, slipping hands into his pockets. Here is where it gets wild, pay attention. I am the real young master of the Lincoln family, Kevin sneered. And this guy, he is just a cheap knockoff. A dog that used to beg for scraps. Hazel stepped right in front of me, glaring absolute daggers. Young Master Lincoln, is it? I would watch your mouth if I were you. Kevin raised an eyebrow, totally amused. Or what? Hazel smirked, looking straight at the clinging girl. Lucy, is he your new sugar daddy? I did not know our school's public restroom was charging premium rates right now. Lucy's face turned beet red. Hazel, I will ruin you! She lunged forward, raising her hand to slap Hazel across the face. Smack. Hazel completely beat her to it, delivering a stinging backhand right across Lucy's face. Keep talking trash and a smashed nose will be the least of your problems. Lucy burst into tears, tightly hugging Kevin's arm. Kevin, you have to do something. She hit me. Kevin's face instantly darkened. He did not actually care about Lucy, but his huge pride was completely bruised. He absolutely could not lose face in front of me. Miss Hazel hanging around Leo is a total dead end. Kevin pulled a sleek black card out from his jacket. This is a VIP card for Cloud9 Palace Restaurant. Without this, you cannot even pass the front door. Hazel totally scoffed, grabbing my hand and confidently dragging me straight toward the reception desk. She slammed a heavy gold-trimmed black card onto the counter. You just need a card, right? The receptionist stared at it and instantly turned pure white. At Cloud9, only 3 people possessed the epic Black Dragon Gold card. Tyron, the former West Side boss owner Cole, and the mysterious boss. Offending a cardholder, that was an absolute guaranteed game over for anyone. Stop them from leaving right now, the manager yelled, practically sweating bullets. You feel that tension too, right? Dozens of burly security guards poured out, surrounding us. What are you doing? Hazel stepped in front of me, totally pale. Brother Leo, when the fighting starts, you run first. Seeing the super aggressive guards, she suddenly completely regretted her impulsive little flex. Kevin quickly strolled over, laughing so arrogantly. Little girl, this is second boss Cole's territory. Did you really think you could fake a VIP card and walk right in? You think everyone is going to spoil you like I would. He glanced at me, then leaned super close to Hazel. Give me a kiss and I will bail you out. He turned back to me. Hey, punk. If you do not want a massive beatdown, tell your little girlfriend to make the smart choice. Kevin was feeling unbelievably smug. The panicking manager wiped his forehead nervously, asking Kevin, Sir, are you perfectly acquainted with these two? Kevin immediately backed away, throwing his hands up. No, not at all. He did not want to get dragged into the mess. But as tension peaked, the dozens of guards did not attack. Instead, they all dropped to one single knee, forming a massive circle around Hazel and me. Everyone was absolutely stunned. Especially Kevin. Miss, we were blind. Please forgive our pure insolence. The manager was trembling, bowing super deeply. What is even happening? Hazel's mind went blank. You hold the Black Dragon card. We deeply offended you. The manager gestured, and the guards around us instantly began slapping their own faces in perfect unison. Hazel's eyes went wide. She slowly picked up the card from the desk. This is the legendary Black Dragon card. Yes, ma'am, the manager practically squeaked. Hazel looked at me. I just leaned down and softly whispered in her ear. If I am guessing right, you could tell them to do jumping jacks, and they would not dare refuse. Really? Hazel's eyes completely sparkled with pure mischief. She cleared her throat. Stand up! The guards instantly snapped to attention. Trust me, you and I love to see it. Kevin turned entirely pale. Even Claire, the powerful CEO, only held a standard VIP card. He never even knew about the Black Dragon card. Watch this closely. Hazel pointed straight at Kevin and Lucy. Throw them out. What, I am a VIP? I will sue you. Kevin panicked desperately, trying to keep his tough guy act. Totally useless. 4 huge guards grabbed his arms and literally threw him right out the front doors. He crashed face first onto the cold pavement like a total sack of potatoes. Lucy got thrown out right after him. She curled into a corner, crying hysterically, absolutely despising Hazel for this unbelievable public humiliation. She quickly hailed a taxi and escaped. The manager forced a highly flattering smile, bowing respectfully to Hazel. "Is there anything else we can handle for you, ma'am? Just lead the way." "I will order first you catch up." Hazel told me, though, still super suspicious about how I actually possessed such an incredible VIP status. She obediently followed the manager into the dining area. The second she left, my friendly smile vanished. "Now pay close attention here." Blake emerged from the street shadows with 12 specialized enforcers totally surrounding Kevin before he could even crawl toward his car. "What do you want?" Kevin stuttered, staring at the men in black suits. I slowly walked over, hands in pockets, my voice calm but totally freezing. "Looks like you forgot my warning. Leo, my dad saved your life. He raised you, I am his only son." "Do you have any conscience left?" Kevin screamed desperately, using the old man's memory as a protective shield. "Very true. The old man gave me the second chance. He was like a real father to me." I nodded gently, my tone suddenly softening. Kevin thought he was totally safe and let out a massive sigh of relief. "Right. Good. I will be going then. I never said you could leave." I cut him off, a cold smirk forming. "I will not end you, but I can still completely humiliate you." Bam! I stomped my foot down hard near his car tire, pointing at the narrow gap underneath. "Crawl through, Leo? Are you absolutely crazy?" Kevin's face twisted in pure panic. He struggled wildly, but 2 enforcers held him down. Right then, Valerie burst from the shadows, loudly screaming, "Stop, Leo, let him go." I laughed coldly. Raising my hand, I delivered a brutal backhand right across Kevin's face. Smack. His head bounced right off the car door. He was badly hurt, but far too terrified to even make a sound. Valerie looked like she was losing her mind. She lunged forward, but I simply shoved her back. "You pushed me!" Valerie fell onto the ground, looking up at me in absolute shock. "Valerie, this has absolutely nothing to do with you," I said coldly. "If you know what is best for you, stay out of it. He is my brother, the biological son of Old Man Lincoln." Valerie scrambled up, screaming out, "How can you do this to him, you ungrateful animal?" I actually laughed. "For over 10 years, I lived exactly like a clown for you people. Valerie, do you really think this little brat is more important than me? He is innocent," Valerie choked out. "We raised you for years only to raise a backstabbing wolf." My smile widened significantly, but it never reached my eyes. I directly pointed at the ground. "We all feel that tension, right? Either you crawl or he does. If neither happens, I am snapping his legs now." Kevin turned ghostly pale. He immediately screamed, "Sister, you do it! You are a girl! You are going to have to get on your knees for a man eventually anyway. Just do it." "How can you say that to me?" Valerie stared at him, utterly betrayed. "Stop stalling!" Kevin barked violently, shoving her right back to the ground. Crawl Valerie fell hard, scraping her palms. Heavy tears streamed down her face. She shakily got up onto her hands and knees and slowly, humiliatingly crawled right between my legs. "Leo, I am your sister. How dare you humiliate me like this?" Valerie screamed loudly, her eyes burning with pure hatred and deep confusion. "Sister," I sneered, "we do not share any family ties. And just like I told you, I am not the Leo you used to know." I leaned down, grabbed her chin, and whispered, "Take your jacket off, or his hands come off." Valerie entirely froze. She could not even form a word. Even Blake and the enforcers were slightly taken aback. "What, did you not say you would do anything for your brother?" I mocked her mercilessly. "When it is time to pay up, you just hesitate. Hypocrite." Valerie gritted her teeth, her entire body shaking. "Enough!" Kevin, deeply panicking that I might actually break his legs, slapped Valerie hard across the face. "You fool, just take it off. What are you waiting for?" He violently grabbed her jacket, ripping it right off her shoulders. I did not even look back. I turned around and walked straight into the restaurant. Kevin glared at my back, his eyes full of venom. He turned to Valerie, who was sitting on the ground totally broken. "Where is Claire?" he demanded. At the hospital, Valerie answered numbly. She sat there weeping uncontrollably. "Stop crying," Kevin snapped impatiently. "Take me to Claire. Hurry up." Valerie really had no choice. She drove the ungrateful brat to the hospital. Half an hour later, inside Grace's hospital room. "Trust me, you will want to see what happens next." Claire coldly asked Valerie. Where did you go, even while stressing over the stock market? She remained the strict family matriarch. Come along with me, eldest sister, I brought the sachet, Valerie whispered, looking completely down. Kevin threw himself straight onto his knees. Claire, you absolutely must help me. Leo hates me. He sent guys to beat me and threatened me. He hid his good hand, proudly showing off a tiny scrape on his face like a battle scar. Please kick him out of this city. I am terrified he might actually finish me off. What? Tracy, the fierce cop, flared up instantly. I will go arrest him right now. Stop, Claire commanded coldly. Why did he hit you? Tell the truth, Kevin stammered nervously. Seeing Valerie stay completely quiet, he decided to spice up his wild story. He even ripped her clothes and made her crawl right between his legs. He is at Cloud9 Palace right now. If you doubt me, go check. The room erupted in frantic whispers. Silence, Claire snapped. She turned to Valerie. Is this actually true? Valerie froze. She just kept her head totally down and cried. Tracy walked over, inspecting Valerie's torn jacket. Frowning, she asked Valerie, You use Helena perfume, right? Claire leaned closely in, sniffing Kevin's hand. She instantly recognized that distinct scent of Helena perfume lingering there. Eldest sister? What are you saying? Tracy confidently stepped up, grabbing Kevin's hand. She smelled it too. As a huge cosmetics expert, she could never be fooled. Little brother, care to explain? Tracy glared at him sharply. Kevin turned bright red and heavily stammered. Leo ripped her jacket. I was only trying to help her button it up. Now watch closely. Tracy laughed coldly. Oh, really? Because these fabric tear marks were obviously made by someone yanking very forcefully straight down. Claire stepped boldly forward, grabbing Valerie's collar. Valerie, what actually happened here? Valerie's eyes were totally red. Biting her lip, she cried, Eldest sister Kevin ripped it, but Leo truly made me crawl right between his legs. He really is at Cloud9, go check smack. Claire struck Valerie incredibly hard across the face, cutting her lies completely off. The room went completely silent. Everyone stood in absolute shock. Claire had never hit a sister before, but today she completely reached her breaking point. You hit me. Valerie held her cheek, endless tears pouring down. Eldest sister, you actually hit her. Tracy hugged Valerie protectively. Calm down. Everyone bullies me outside, and now my own sisters bully me at home. I cannot take this pain anymore. Valerie wailed in pure despair. Valerie, do not think your silly lies can fool me, Claire stated with a terrifyingly icy calm. Leo barely has money to buy a decent meal. How could he possibly dine at Cloud9 Palace? Claire paused, her voice shaking slightly. Tell me, did he actually bully you? Tell the truth. Valerie avoided her intense gaze, whispering no. Claire let out a heavy sigh. Get out. Go home now. Lock yourself in your room for a week and think about your actions. You are such a profound disappointment. Dad taught us to be kind and totally honest. Rachel grabbed her phone and quickly called me. Leo, did Valerie come looking for you? Yeah. She begged me to mix paint for her. I told her no. The Lincoln family thinks they are absolute royalty. They can go mix their own paint, I answered coldly. Loud arguing suddenly echoed through the receiver. Stop stealing my leftovers. I yelled at someone, then quickly hung up. Claire stood up pale. Valerie, because he refused to help you, you simply framed him. Leo is literally fighting over discarded leftovers, yet you claim he is dining at Cloud9. Valerie collapsed onto the floor, choking on heavy sobs, speechless. Can you believe this? I have no snake, sister, Claire spat, turning away. Kevin, seeing this wild situation going south, desperately looked for an exit. Eldest sister, I have been out too long. Mom will worry. I am leaving. Valerie cried until almost passing out. Eldest sister, you are humiliating me. I will just perish to prove my innocence. She broke free from Tracy's tight grip, lunging toward the window. Rachel was faster, instantly tackling her completely away from the glass. Valerie slammed hard into Rachel's chest. Eldest sister, you were a bit harsh today, Tracy quietly whispered. Even with your insomnia, you really shouldn't have pushed her that far. If she had actually been treated the way Leo was treated, she would have completely perished 100 times over by now, Claire replied, her voice sharper than a scalpel. Tracy visibly flinched. She felt something was incredibly wrong here. Claire was constantly defending Leo now, despite absolutely hating him the most in the past. Claire looked down at Valerie. I wronged you about the torn clothes. Kevin ripped them. But did Leo honestly make you crawl? Yes, Valerie cried, feeling utterly wronged. And I was not lying. He truly is at Cloud 9. You can go look, I believe you, Tracy quickly interjected. I actually heard an employee call him boss today, loudly greeting him. Are you truly sure? Tracy asked. Positive, Valerie insisted. Tracy frowned deeply. The boss is the new kingpin of the West Side. Word is he defeated Tyron's gang and took over Cloud 9. Valerie was totally stunned. She thought she was just clearing her name, but the truth was way more complicated. What Claire roared loudly, her eyes filled with utter deep disappointment. So what do we make of this? Penniless Leo fights for scraps, yet he is a mafia boss dining in luxury. Stick with me here. Do you think I am foolish? I will do anything to prove it. Valerie gritted her teeth. No need for extreme measures. Claire glared at Rachel. Keep an eye on Grace. She grabbed her bag, storming out. Tracy and Valerie rushed behind her. Meanwhile, at Cloud 9 Palace, Blake triumphantly stood on a chair holding high a plate of stir-fried potatoes. Haha, these leftovers are totally mine. I smiled, sipping water. Blake, next time we play, you are fully banned. Hazel giggled cheerfully. She had started a fun dare just to lighten the mood. Losers eat the table scraps. Oh, my dad is calling. Hazel quickly checked her phone. We should probably head back now. Sounds good to me. I stood up, grabbing some packed takeout boxes for Uncle Harry. But suddenly the VIP room doors aggressively swung open. Claire, Tracy, and Valerie marched right in. The air instantly froze. Dozens of scary men in black suits glared fiercely at the uninvited guests. Valerie swallowed nervously, stammering out, "Where is Leo?" Watch closely now, she swore she heard people calling him boss, but Hazel and I were already totally gone, having secretly slipped right out the back door. What exactly do you want? Blake wiped grease off his mouth, glaring fiercely at the women. Claire forced a polite smile. Hello, I am Claire Lincoln of Lincoln International. Is anyone here named Leo? Hearing that name? Blake's eyes instantly flashed with fierce anger. This was the exact woman who kicked their boss out. Nobody here by that name. Blake waved his hand away dismissively. Where do these crazy women come from ruining our dinner? Get lost. The doors slammed shut in their faces. What on earth are you doing? The restaurant security team immediately surrounded the three sisters. What is the problem? The head guard stepped up, looking totally annoyed. CEO Lincoln, please cooperate. Do not make this difficult, the guard warned. He is the one. Valerie pointed eagerly at the guard. I saw you kneeling before Leo. The guard's face never even changed. You must have honestly mistaken me for someone else. His voice was totally flat. You are lying? Valerie tried arguing, but Claire quickly cut her off. Enough. Have we embarrassed ourselves enough? Claire pulled out a few $100 bills, handed them to the guard, and just forced a smile. Buy the boys some late-night snacks. Thank you, CEO Lincoln. The guard sneered coldly, casually, pocketing the cash. Outside the restaurant, Claire glared at Valerie, grinding her teeth. Got anything else to say? Valerie had zero excuses. You and I are about to see the truth, Claire jumped in. Tracy, drive to Harry's apartment. I want Valerie to see Leo's life. Back at Harry's small apartment, we happily unpacked the tasty leftovers. Uncle Harry and Aunt Lily stared at the food with incredibly complicated expressions. Hazel, did you actually spend Leo's money on all this? Harry put down his chopsticks, looking completely serious. Uncle Harry, this only cost around $50. I quickly lied. Hazel got a great scholarship and wanted to treat you. Really? Harry's eyes went wide. Yes, I just got the notice. Hazel smiled brightly and nodded. That is wonderful. The ancestors are truly watching over us. Harry wiped a happy tear away, grabbing a hidden cheap liquor bottle. We must celebrate tonight. But as everyone was laughing, Hazel suddenly yelled from her bedroom, Dad, where is my teddy bear? I threw it out. The apartment is too small, and that thing was completely falling apart. Harry yelled back loudly. You threw it where Hazel sprinted right out, her eyes red and totally frantic. In the downstairs dumpster. Harry nervously flinched. It was ripped. Why do you need it? Hazel did not answer. She just bolted down the stairs. I quickly followed. Down by the dumpsters, Hazel stood completely frozen, staring at the massive trash pile. I softly sighed. Let me handle this. I rolled my sleeves up and started digging through the garbage. Brother Leo, it is way too dirty. Hazel panicked. If this is important to you, I will find it anywhere. I smiled gently. By the way, make sure to report to my friend's company tomorrow. You lost our bet. Remember, Hazel blinked. I think I will pass, do not worry. With your amazing skills, they are incredibly lucky to have you intern. I laughed, digging away. Meanwhile, Claire's fancy Mercedes slowly pulled up to the curb. She watched me digging deeply through the trash under a dim streetlight. Hot tears instantly poured down her face. "Valerie, if you cannot explain this, leave the Lincoln family right now just like Leo did," Claire stated coldly. Valerie had absolutely zero excuses left. She never should have meddled. Total karma, say what you want, but Leo actually taking care of his people. "It is actually really sweet," Tracy muttered from the passenger seat. "He has skills and he is a little romantic too." "Tracy, what are you even saying?" Claire wiped her tears, staring at her sister. "Haha, I just realized Leo would honestly make a fantastic boyfriend." Tracy sighed loudly. "Too bad it is impossible. He is your brother," Claire's voice pitched up angrily. "We are not actually related?" Tracy shrugged. "I thought we could keep the wealth in the family." "Pity you kicked him out." Claire was so furious she could not speak. She turned to Valerie. "What are you going to do?" Valerie looked up, eyes fully determined. "If I prove the truth, will you apologize?" Claire agreed. "Trust me, we are just getting started. Stick with me. Let's dive into this." Valerie shoves the car door open completely, refusing the Lincoln house until she is cleared. If Leo survives outside, she will too. "What now, eldest sister?" Tracy asks, rubbing her aching head. "She's grown. Respect her choice." Claire stares out the window. "Drive us home." 3 hours later, I find the wrapped teddy bear inside the dumpster. "Is this it?" I carefully hand it over to Hazel. She gently kisses its head. "Thank you, brother Leo." Staring at that old bear, I completely freeze. I bought this birthday gift over a decade ago. She actually kept it this whole time. Meanwhile, the Lincoln family treated my hard work like actual trash. Hilarious irony, right? "Recognize it?" Hazel asks, smiling softly. "Yeah," I nod, feeling incredibly warm. Suddenly, Valerie's voice completely shatters our peaceful moment. I turn around. She stands 10 yards away, crying her eyes out. She suddenly falls to her knees. "I am sorry. I shouldn't have bothered you. Please forgive me. What kind of game is this? Just another one of Kevin's silly traps. I worked endlessly mixing paints for 7 years, and you frame me when I decline." I glare in pure disgust. "You are worse than this garbage." "Let's go, Hazel." "Leo." Valerie sobs, desperately crawling forward. "Why won't you just admit you are the boss?" Watch this next part closely. "Are you scared?" "Fine." I stop and stare, totally deadpan. "I am the boss," satisfied. "Say it again." Valerie excitedly pulls out her phone. "I am the boss," I repeat monotonously. Did you hear that? Valerie screams right into her phone, but the only sound playing is a boring, automated voice. "The number you dialed is currently off." Her phone slips and completely shatters on the hard concrete. Valerie sits in the dirt staring into blank space, then completely breaks down, crying hysterically. I grab Hazel's hand, walking away. After a nice shower, we stand together on the balcony. Looking down, Valerie is still sitting right by those dumpsters, literally crying her eyes out. "She's cried for 10 minutes straight," Hazel notes. "Kind of pathetic." I lean back, shaking my head. "She used to be my sister. Hard to watch." "Yeah, must be tough being alone," Hazel agrees. Brother Leo has a soft heart. I hate seeing suffering. I pull out my phone and dial. "Hello, Psychiatric Center. There is an unstable woman outside Beautiful View Apartments who simply won't stop crying. Please hurry. She might do something extreme." I hang up. Hazel stares in total shock. "You're laughing too, right? Did I do something wrong?" "Leo, I absolutely love you." Hazel laughs happily, kissing my cheek. 10 minutes later, a white van pulls up. "What are you doing?" "Let me go. I am Claire Lincoln's sister," Valerie shrieks as orderlies grab her. "Sure, let's get you home." The doctor smiles reassuringly. Valerie's eyes completely light up. "Really, eldest sister finally forgave me. CEO Lincoln sent us. Get in." The doctor nods. Valerie hops inside, only to realize those back seats have iron bars and lock from the outside. The doctor just smirks. "If you are Claire Lincoln, then I am the literal president." The van speeds off straight toward the psychiatric ward. Meanwhile, Grace is soundly sleeping. Tracy left for work. Only Rachel and Claire remain. Eldest sister. "I must keep giving you sleeping pills," Rachel says sadly. "You have already sacrificed way too much for us." "It is fine." Claire nods. She knows without some sleep she might literally collapse from sheer exhaustion. After a heavy silence, Claire asks Rachel, "Do you really think Leo slapped Kevin just out of pure anger?" "I think there is more to this. If you never mentioned that DVD, I would assume Leo framed him today." Claire sighs heavily. Since learning Valerie and Kevin framed him with that clothing stunt, I feel we were played completely. Eldest sister, if we speak up now, it is way too late. Rachel sighs. Who knew Leo suffered so much while we completely misunderstood him? Claire chokes up. Why didn't he just defend himself? Why not explain? Rachel laughs bitterly. Would you have believed him? After a pause, Claire looks up. He will not accept my apologies. What do I do? Rachel pats her hand. You can start with Hazel. Her family needs money. Lincoln International is hiring. Give her a top-tier position. High salary, fast promotions. Maybe Leo forgives us if she is happy. Claire nods. Do it. Suddenly, Rachel's phone rings. She answers, and her expression turns super strange. Valerie is locked in the psych ward. Claire stays cold. Let her cool off for 7 days. That is where we leave it. Karma collects. Stick with me here. Consider this payback. 7 days. Rachel hesitated, thinking it felt way too harsh compared to what Leo went through. My decision stands, Claire stated fiercely. Fast forward to morning, there was a massive university job fair. Hazel stood confidently in the bustling lecture hallway, rocking a perfectly crisp white blouse and sharp black blazer. Did you hear Lincoln International wants 10 people with a $20,000 starting salary? An excited voice echoed loudly. Ladies, I snagged the job. Lucy lifted her fancy contract, marching toward Hazel, showing an incredibly arrogant smirk. Look, I never need rich guys to totally outshine someone like you. Suddenly, a strong voice cut in. Excuse me, Miss Lucy, do you share a class with Miss Hazel? Lucy spun around, her arrogant smirk quickly fading into pure panic. Manager Ricky, dressed incredibly sharp. Ricky glanced around. Who is Hazel? Dozens of eyes instantly locked onto her. Everybody knew she and Lucy remained absolute rivals. Lucy just secured that awesome human resources assistant role at Lincoln International. So why was the big manager finding Hazel? That is me. Need something, Hazel replied smoothly. But hearing about Lincoln International, her tone instantly went incredibly cold. Lucy totally jumped on this. Hazel, how dare you address Manager Ricky like that? Show basic respect. My tone is entirely none of your business, Hazel scoffed. Wow, you haven't even started working yet and you are already eagerly kissing his boots. Lucy turned totally green from the embarrassment. Manager Ricky, if you hire her, absolutely make sure she passes medical checkups. I really do not want the male staff catching her germs. Lucy, I will actually crush you, Hazel charged forward, ready for action. Enough, Ricky swiftly intervened, hushing the entire hallway. Watch closely now. Miss Hazel want to join Lincoln International? Ricky asked, his voice sounding completely respectful and sincere. 30,000 starting salary and you will directly enter our elite management fast-track training program. Everyone absolutely gasped. 30,000, Lucy literally just bragged about earning 8,000. Why exactly is Hazel getting basically 4 times more money? Is this Claire Lincoln doing favors? Hazel muttered quietly, eyes narrowing with suspicion. How dare you use CEO Lincoln's first name? Lucy yelled. Miss Lucy, this was purely our human resources team making the call, Ricky responded sternly. Actually, you were the person who totally recommended Miss Hazel, calling her an outstanding choice. Is that right? Ricky stared intensely at Lucy, throwing a clearly threatening look. Her brain fully broke down. Recommend Hazel. They were absolute worst enemies. But Ricky was cornering her before the huge crowd. She literally had zero choice except grinding her teeth and nodding along. Oh, is that true? Hazel smirked, fully playing along. Sister Lucy, what exactly did you claim about me? Miss Lucy, confidently repeat what you told me, Ricky ordered coldly. I missed it earlier. Lucy took one massive breath, her hands shaking out of control. Hazel is completely beautiful, tops. Her Class 0 bad scandals holds a massive scholarship. Truly our most amazing student here. You and I felt that sting. I am way inferior to you, Lucy mumbled softly, her face turning pale. The whole crowd totally erupted into laughter. Lucy was visibly shaking from rage, staying entirely quiet. Miss Hazel, please consider this amazing offer, Ricky pressed. Lincoln International is a perfect place for building careers. I am so sorry, Hazel replied coldly. I keep extreme standards for employers. Because honestly, I heard people join your company through sleeping with Claire Lincoln's older brother. The huge hall fell totally silent. Ricky looked absolutely furious. He angrily snatched Lucy's new employment contract, violently ripping it apart. Lincoln International completely rejects nepotism and any inappropriate relationships. Ricky, you absolute jerk! Lucy went fully insane, aggressively lunging forward. This morning inside that bathroom, you used me and promised this job. You hardly lasted 1 minute, and now you act morally superior here. Absolute total chaos immediately broke out everywhere. Hazel smirked, walking away until someone suddenly blocked her exit path. Tracy Lincoln stood there, hands firmly in pockets, glaring incredibly coldly. We need to talk about what exactly Hazel frowned. She knew Tracy ran super hot, but she did nothing illegal here. Let us talk right over there. Tracy pointed toward her car. If you must speak, say it here. Hazel glared with pure, open hostility. Tracy just shrugged. Fine then. How much cash does Leo need to return and brew tea for Claire? Hazel totally froze, then released a mocking laugh. Money, you Lincolns constantly just talk about cash. You truly are cut from that exact cloth as Kevin. Tracy completely ignored her insult. Do not reject this offer instantly. Assuming the request is not completely unreasonable, we will happily agree. Do you honestly desire Leo digging through dirty dumpsters for his whole life? If not just for yourself, consider your family. Consider Leo. Hazel instantly scoffed. Honestly, I am super glad you kicked him out. She intentionally bumped into Tracy's shoulder while walking past. Tracy aggressively ground her teeth in pure frustration. She almost chased her until a crazy, loud engine roar totally echoed across the street. And that is where we leave it. 12 black Range Rovers aggressively blocked the school gates. Intimidating guys wearing black suits stepped out, walking directly toward Hazel, wild right. Let's dive in. The Black Gold Syndicate guys approach Miss Hazel for an urgent, mysterious meeting. Black Gold Syndicate frowning Hazel quickly pulled out her phone and called me. Brother Leo, is this the company you mentioned? Yeah, I replied warmly. I need a huge favor from you today. Just think of it as repaying your debt. My guys are pretty rough around here. They desperately need a smart, educated brain like yours managing our things. Okay, let's go. Hazel nodded at them, assuming Black Gold was just some normal, everyday corporate recruiting firm. As she was getting inside the car, Ricky rushed over with scratched cheeks. Miss Hazel, are you absolutely sure you will not reconsider joining Lincoln International? Before he could even finish, a Black Gold bodyguard slapped him right into a spin. The Range Rover convoy zoomed away, finally arriving at a towering, totally magnificent skyscraper. Hundreds of men in black suits stood perfectly lined up. A lieutenant opened her car door. Miss Hazel, welcome to the Black Gold Syndicate. Hundreds of fireworks blasted skyward. Confetti rained down everywhere. Hazel stood there completely stunned. She hadn't expected this wildly epic reception. Don't worry, it isn't for you, the lieutenant quickly explained. We're welcoming our new chairman. Hazel sighed in relief. She patted her chest, walked down the red carpet, and cautiously entered the tall building. From afar, Tracy watched the entire spectacle from her car, her jaw completely dropped. Hazel works for the boss now. Tracy was in disbelief. That kid is hiding some insane secrets. She instantly ordered her subordinates to keep a very close watch on the Black Gold building's top floor. Now, pay attention, this gets wild. Inside a private dining room, wealthy businessmen gathered around a massive hot pot table. I sat at the head, calmly tapping my fingers. Gentlemen, I want you to hand over every single Lincoln International supply contract to me. I'll buy them all at a 10% premium. The shocked businessmen exchanged nervous glances with each other. One guy bravely spoke up. Everyone knows CEO Lincoln's temper. Those breach of contract penalties would be massive. Exactly, Lincoln International is an absolute powerhouse. Pulling a stunt like this simply won't end well. Another guy agreed. I laughed out loud, raising my glass. So Claire Lincoln terrifies you, but you aren't afraid of me. Tension in the room instantly spiked. When I host a dinner, there are only two types. I slowly held up 2 fingers. A celebration banquet or a final meal. Pulling a pistol from my jacket, I walked over to that first man who had bravely spoken up. Suddenly, my phone rang. Raising an eyebrow, I answered it. Leo, get away from Hazel immediately, she demanded. Claire's panicked voice screamed through the speaker. He is the West Side boss. Hazel is actually with the boss right now. If she's with the boss, then who am I chuckled darkly, hanging up. Are you completely insane? The businessman Marcus Long yelled out. Completely ignoring him, I racked the pistol slide and pointed it right at Marcus's head. You seeing this madness? I smiled. Just playing a game, I grabbed an apple, placing it right on his panicked head. What do you mean, Bam? The bullet shattered the apple into pieces. Marcus went entirely pale, collapsing backward into his chair. A dark stain spread across his trousers. Leo, I am calling the cops! Marcus shrieked, totally losing his mind. You're threatening me? I asked calmly. Damn right I'm threatening you. I nodded. Yeah, I am. Sweeping my gaze over the room, I watched Marcus trembling with rage. You want to play tough guy? I built my massive empire from absolutely nothing while you were a nobody, the others muttered in agreement. Yeah, do not push us around. I didn't even blink. I signaled Blake, who handed me a medical diagnosis report. I tossed it right onto the table in front of Marcus. Read it. Marcus glanced down, and the remaining color immediately drained from his face. Patient Leo diagnosis terminal illness less than 1 month. It bore the official stamp of the city hospital. Today I came here completely alone, I said softly, picking up my phone, dialing 911 on speaker. Then I pressed the gun back against Marcus's forehead. But I'm extremely happy to drag every single one of you down into the abyss with me. The room was completely silent. You could hear sweat dripping off Marcus's chin. 911, what is your emergency? The operator's voice echoed from the phone. Marcus panicked, snatching the device and ending the call. Sorry, kid, playing with the phone. Just my mistake. I really don't have much time left, and I have absolutely zero patience. I wiped a dark drop from the corner of my mouth. You assumed the diagnosis was totally fake, but this bullet is very real. Pulling out a revolver, I loaded a single bullet, spun the cylinder, aimed at my own head, and pulled the trigger 6 times in rapid succession. Click, 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 click. He is an absolute lunatic, Marcus gasped, collapsing from his chair while the other businessmen trembled in terror. Trust me on this one. A man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous creature. 2 choices, I calmly said. Let us jump right in, sign the deal, or someone leaves on a stretcher. Marcus completely broke down. Hands shaking like crazy, he grabbed the pen, signed his name, and stamped his thumbprint onto it. Watching their toughest guy totally crumble, nobody else dared to fight back. They all signed, instantly. Thanks for cooperating, I smirked, tossing Blake the signed papers. Aiming right at the chandelier overhead, I pulled the trigger. Crash, sparkling glass rained down. A few CEOs actually screamed and fainted. Remember, what happens today stays right here, I whispered softly. Or else you will face the consequences. The guys nodded wildly, scrambling out of the black gold building like panicked rats escaping a sinking ship. Boss Claire Lincoln is downstairs. She is demanding to see Hazel, Blake whispered quietly. Claire Lincoln. I smirked. Let her come up. Let us see if she can handle Hazel. Meanwhile, down in the lobby, Claire was pacing around, frantically trying my number repeatedly, but it just would not connect. Suddenly, she spotted Marcus and the other suppliers stumbling right out of the elevators, looking totally spooked. Marcus, CEO Xiao, what exactly are you guys doing here? Claire asked, looking super confused. Oh, CEO Lincoln, just eating a meal. Chat tomorrow. Faking a completely terrified smile, Marcus practically sprinted right outside. The rest mumbled super quick hellos and fled. CEO Lincoln. I will take you to see Miss Hazel. A polite receptionist smiled, guiding her right toward the elevator. Who exactly is she? Claire just had to ask. Miss Hazel is the general manager of the Black Gold Syndicate, the receptionist replied very smoothly. Watch closely now. Claire felt truly awful about this setup. They reached the 11th floor. The receptionist knocked gently on the double doors. Come in! Hazel called out with a freezing voice. Claire pushed inside, her eyes totally huge with pure disbelief. Impossible! This is just absolutely impossible. Hazel sat calmly behind an incredibly massive wooden desk, reviewing documents with a totally blank, neutral expression. The room was insanely fancy, easily crushing Claire's own CEO suite over at Lincoln International. Manager Hazel, you hid your identity perfectly, Claire said, stepping right up to the desk. She was highly doubtful before, but this crazy office confirmed her worst fears. Only a few premium offices like this existed in the entire city. Me hiding my identity. Hazel glanced around the massive room and smirked. I think you are just blind. Claire froze. She realized Hazel still held a giant grudge over Leo getting booted out. I cannot deny that I made a mistake. Oh, finally admitting you are blind. Good job, Hazel teased. I admit my flaws. Claire leaned heavily on the desk, glaring pure daggers at her. We all know she is projecting, but you are just using Leo, right, with your background. No way you fit here. You must be manipulating him. Hazel paused, then completely cracked up laughing. Manipulating him? Believe whatever you want. I will not satisfy you with any kind of explanation. Claire angrily stood up and instantly stormed right out of the office. Right after she left, a secretary walked inside. Miss Hazel need anything else? Nope, I am totally good. Hazel blushed sweetly. Are all the staff offices this huge? Oh, absolutely. Black Gold values employees highly above anything else. This is just a standard room. Smiling warmly, the secretary left. Hazel sat behind her massive desk, utterly confused. Do companies really treat their staff this incredibly well? Downstairs, a super pale Claire jumped back into her car and quickly called up Tracy. Tracy, head to Harry's apartment immediately. Go see if they are hiding something. I absolutely refuse to believe Hazel is the real boss. Hanging up, she leaned back into her seat, breathing incredibly heavy from pure stress. Those sleeping pill side effects were definitely hitting her hard now. Closing her eyes, she desperately tried forcing herself to stay perfectly calm outside the beautiful view apartments. Meanwhile, Tracy stood right outside Harry's door. Her third visit here, first time she fought Leo. Second time, she saw him digging through garbage. Knock, knock. Harry quickly swung the front door wide open. Seeing Tracy, he instantly tried slamming it shut. Uncle Harry, it is just me. Tracy held the door open, trying to sound patient. Last time was a huge misunderstanding. I am apologizing. Soon Lily opened the door much wider, smiling very kindly. Come right in, Tracy. Tracy walked inside, glancing around. The place remained incredibly cramped. With old furniture, they definitely lived paycheck to paycheck in this tiny spot. But then she spotted the dining table. Premium black abalone and Australian lobsters. These were leftovers Hazel brought back home. Did Hazel buy this? Harry answered casually. Us poor folks do not really care about fancy presentation. Tracy's heart pounded wildly against her ribs. How could Hazel, a completely broke college student, afford this crazy luxury? Her biggest suspicions were confirmed. Leaving the apartment, Tracy immediately called Claire but got absolutely zero answer. Soon after, a notification flashed in the sisters' group chat. Claire Lincoln was just involved in a serious car accident. Tracy completely panicked. Trust me, we want to track where that GPS leads next. All right, stick with me here. Things are about to get absolutely wild. I sat alone inside an Imperial Bar VIP room. Right on the table sat a glass loaded with a seriously strong aphrodisiac. Getting kicked out by the Lincolns taught me one very hard, absolute truth. In this crazy world, you can only really rely on yourself. Giving up means throwing everything completely away. Before the old man passed away, he left me Harry's address, heavily hinting at some massive secret. Hazel possessed an intense yang constitution while I had extreme yin. We just could not balance each other out. But the old man studied my cold poison for years, leaving behind a totally bizarre treatment method like that glass right in front of me. For anyone normal, it was a heavy aphrodisiac. For me, it was literal life-saving medicine. When the cold poison pain became unbearable, the old man made me drink this to sweat heavily and temporarily hold back the nasty venom. The side effects were pretty obvious, but I had absolutely zero choice. Suddenly, the VIP door practically exploded open. Leo Valerie, wearing a skimpy gold slip dress, stormed right into the room. Her face was completely flushed red with pure anger. Did you call the psych ward to lock me up? I absolutely did, I admitted calmly. But you really do not look like much of a lady right now. A lady, Valerie furiously exploded. You have the nerve to actually mention that. I was an elegant artist. Now my entire family thinks I am a total joke because of you. Claire got into a terrible car accident because of you. You ungrateful snake, I closed my eyes, letting her vent. You completely played the victim. You completely manipulated Claire and made me the family villain, Valerie screamed. We raised you for a whole decade, and this is what we get. I told you our ties are officially cut, I replied coldly. Valerie gritted her teeth, looking like she was basically swallowing a golf ball. Finally, she dropped to her knees, eyes actually pleading. Fine, we settle our scores later, but Claire's insomnia is absolutely ruining her. Now she is hospitalized from a crash. Do you really not care at all? Is she finally gone yet? I asked flatly. You, Valerie pointed at me, trembling with absolute rage. Leo, that is your sister. How can you wish her gone? I smirked. Not gone yet, what a shame. I was going to chip in for the farewell flowers and grab a free meal. You animal! Valerie lost her mind. You absolute psycho, are you done? I asked, looking totally bored. I will curse you until my final breath. Don't blink. Valerie's throat was totally dry, and she aggressively grabbed that medicine glass on the table, downing it in one single gulp. She wiped her mouth, glaring right at me. Leo, what exactly is it going to take for you to save Claire Valerie? I highly suggest you go home and lock your door. I looked at her with a hint of pity. Otherwise, you are really going to embarrass yourself. What are you? Valerie started but suddenly stopped. She felt a totally bizarre heat spreading through her chest. Her cheeks flushed dark crimson and her breathing grew incredibly heavy. A few seconds later, her eyes widened in absolute horror. You drugged the water, You drugged yourself, I corrected her with a totally cold smile. Valerie stumbled, leaning against the sofa, desperately trying to fight off that overwhelming heat surging through her veins. Suddenly, she lunged aggressively forward, tightly grabbing my shirt. Leo, if you save Claire tonight, I will do whatever you want. Valerie, get off me. I forcefully shoved her away. Honestly, you are not exactly my type. Valerie was furious, her mind completely clouded by the powerful drug. She lunged at me again, desperately wrapping her arms around me. Who do you think you are, guys? Literally line up to Paris just to look at me. You dare reject me? Boom! The door was violently kicked open again. Tracy stood right in the doorway, face pale, radiating serious, murderous intent. Leo, you absolute animal! She stared in horror at the scene. Valerie was known for being pure. Let that sink in because she is practically throwing herself at me, straps totally slipping. Are you even human? Tracy violently screamed, raising her hand to slap me hard. Smack, I caught her wrist before it even got close. What exactly are you doing? Looking to actually join in, I asked, my heart pounding slightly, masking my surprise. Do not play games with me. Tracy furiously ripped her hand right away. Take your embarrassing sister to the hospital. I shoved her away coldly. When she sobers up, ask her what actually happened. You are not a real man, Valerie shrieked, totally out of her mind. Tracy really had to restrain her. Valerie, put your clothes right back on. Tracy was completely panicking. The most important thing was getting Valerie out of there to figure out what Leo actually did to her. Let go of me, Tracy. Stop acting so pure. Valerie just babbled deliriously. I know you used to eagerly peek at Leo when he was in the shower. You are the biggest pervert of us all. I stopped completely dead in my tracks, turning to look at Tracy in total disbelief. What are you looking at? She is delirious. Tracy's face turned bright tomato red. Who would ever actually want to peek at you? Keep your crazy drama away from me. I slammed the door and walked out of the bar. You absolute bastard, Tracy stomped her foot in rage. You think you are untouchable because you clung to Hazel. Just wait. She turned her wild frustration to Valerie. You always find a way to make the absolute biggest messes. Hazel finished work at the Black Gold Syndicate. Trust me, you and I definitely want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. As Hazel crosses the street, a dark sedan accelerates straight at her. Her eyes go totally wide. She tries to dodge, but it is moving way too fast. Bam! A massive Range Rover T-bones the sedan, sending it spinning completely across the whole intersection. Hazel's heart pounds hard against her ribs. Her legs turn to jelly as she scrambles onto the sidewalk. Blake hops out of the Range Rover, intensely glaring at the wrecked sedan. Still breathing. He drags the heavily injured driver out and tosses him right into the vehicle's trunk. Boss, someone just tried to run over Miss Hazel. Blake speaks firmly into his earpiece. If you have time, come down to the basement. Someone actually dared to touch my people. They must be tired of breathing. Down in the underground bunker of the Black Gold building, the battered driver is firmly strapped to a metal chair. Rows of men in dark suits stand in total silence, the air feeling completely freezing. I walk in and stand right before the driver. Who sent you? The driver reeks of cheap alcohol. No one, he wheezes. I was drunk. I check my phone. Just an accident. I absolutely hate liars. I stare at him. I am not lying. I swear I was drunk. The driver avoids my eyes. Let him go, I firmly order. Boss Blake looks confused but quickly unties the ropes. The driver weeps with pure joy. Thank you. Thank you so much. He stands up to leave. Smack. A steel pipe slams right into his kneecap. The terrified driver shrieks and instantly collapses. I really hate people who think they can play me, I say, dropping the pipe. Bring her in. A side door slowly opens. A terrified woman is dragged in, trembling uncontrollably. My wife, the panicked driver yells, trying to crawl toward her, but his ruined knee keeps him grounded. Your wife has a very severe illness. She has maybe 1 month left. Are you paying attention? I crouch down, locking eyes. And you used that time to try and eliminate a 20-year-old girl. I stand back up, my voice turning to absolute ice. You also have a son, right? The driver's eyes fill with pure terror. It was Kevin Lincoln. He paid me. He even told me to buy arsenic. Please leave my son out of this. I pull out my phone and dial 911. Everything you just told me you are going to repeat to the cops. Yes, yes, I will. The terrified driver nods frantically. 911. What is your emergency? The operator answers. I report Kevin Lincoln for a contract hit. The desperate driver screams into the phone. I slowly walk outside. Looking up at the beautiful sunset, my mind snags on one specific detail the driver mentioned. Arsenic Kevin had actually ordered him to buy arsenic. Boss, do you mean... Blake realizes it at the same time. Go open up the old man's resting place, I firmly order, my heart sinking into an abyss. Old man Lincoln had always been incredibly healthy, a true master of holistic medicine. Why did he pass away so suddenly? There had to be a reason. At the city hospital, Claire sits on a bed, a bandage wrapped around her head, slowly eating porridge, gently spoon-fed by Rachel. Across the room, Grace is still comatose, receiving important medical nutrition. On the completely other side, Valerie lies in bed, drenched in sweat, tossing and turning in a highly delirious state. Leo, you really cannot handle me, Valerie softly mumbles in her sleep. Are you even a man? Let us see who gives up first. Her wild, erratic mumbling makes everyone else in the room blush furiously. That jerk! Be gentle, you are hurting me. Valerie's voice grows quieter. The room turns as red as a literal tomato farm. You and I definitely did not expect the seventh sister's wild subconscious eldest sister. And you told me I was the pervert. Tracy coughs awkwardly, trying to break the tension. Shut up! Claire quickly snaps her face, totally flushed. Shove a bun in her mouth to keep her quiet. Eldest sister, are you just trying to convince yourself? Tracy happily teases. Before she can continue, her phone rings. What? Say that again? Tracy's expression instantly changes to pure, absolute horror. Are you absolutely sure? Yes, he is my brother. You must have made a mistake. She carefully listens for a moment longer. The line goes dead. Tracy, what is wrong? Claire wipes her mouth, feeling a spike of extreme anxiety. Did something happen to Leo? Her heart tightens. She keeps having nightmares about Leo looking completely battered and broken. After learning a fraction of the truth, she is drowning in heavy regret, but cannot bring herself to confess everything to her beloved sisters. If they knew the real truth about Kevin, it would completely destroy the family. Eldest sister, why do you keep asking about Leo? Tracy looks at her completely bewildered. You almost perished in a car crash and he didn't even call. Why do you care about that backstabbing stray dog? Just tell me what the call was about. Claire snaps, standing up, almost losing her balance. Our brother is in huge trouble, Tracy says, looking at her phone. Which brother? Claire is so stressed her brain cannot process the words. Eldest sister, we only have one brother, Tracy clearly shouts. Kevin is involved in a serious contract hit case. He is being investigated. A hit case? Claire grips the metal stand to stay upright. What happened? You are a cop, do something. The investigation team just called. They are at our house. Tracy paces frantically. Eldest sister, what do we do? I will go with you. This must be a misunderstanding. Trust me, we need to see what happens next. Stick with me here. Claire ripped that medical tube out. Rachel, watch the girls. I will call later. In the hospital bed, Grace had been super quiet, but suddenly let out a bitter laugh. Second sister, have you noticed our family falling apart since Leo left? Rachel totally avoided her gaze. Grace, please do not say that. If Mom or Kevin hears, they will be super mad. Eldest sister definitely hides something from us. Grace stared right into Rachel's eyes. Second sister, you see it too, right? Just rest. Rachel turned away completely, unable to look. Outside the Lincoln mansion, 3 police cruisers parked out front. Several officers were practically yelling in a wild argument with Victoria. I am warning you, absolutely nobody steps foot inside my house, Victoria shrieked extremely loudly. My third daughter is a police captain. Want to lose your jobs? One phone call and you are all suspended. She grabbed her chest dramatically. I have a bad heart. If you shock me, my fancy lawyers will completely ruin you. The officers exchanged very tired glances and looked straight toward a middle-aged guy in the lead car. Watch closely here. Chief Gao stepped out and approached Victoria. Ma'am, your son is implicated in a serious planned attack. Here is a search warrant. Please cooperate. I do not care about your silly paper. Victoria sat right on the pavement, crossing her arms. If you want to arrest him, you will have to step over my fallen body. If that is how you want to play, we will not be polite. Chief Gao signaled his men. Arrest him! Stop! Victoria jumped up. I am calling my daughter now. You will be very sorry, ma'am. You must respect the law. Chief Gao frowned. Whoever your daughter is, she is a cop first. She follows the rules. Understood. Just then, a flashy Maserati screeched to a sudden halt right in front of the house. Claire and Tracy quickly rushed out. "Mom, what is going on?" Claire asked, her heart fully sinking seeing police tape. Chief Gao Tracy saw her stern boss and instantly deflated. "Captain Lincoln, take 2 days off," Chief Gao stated firmly. "Execute the arrest warrant. Use force if completely necessary." "What are you doing?" Victoria stomped her feet in absolute rage. Mom, let us figure this out first. Do not make a huge scene." Tracy pulled her back. "You useless girl," Victoria dramatically slapped Tracy across the face. "You will just watch them arrest your father's only son. How will you face your father in the beyond without an answer?" Victoria stormed inside. "Tracy, are you doing all right?" Claire quickly hugged her upset sister. "I am fine. Mom only has one son. She is just panicked." Tracy sniffled softly. "Go ask your colleagues what exactly is going on," Claire said, staying very calm. "We need the facts." A few tense minutes later, Kevin was dragged outside in handcuffs. "Eldest sister, save me." Kevin balled his legs, totally giving out. "It was Leo. Leo completely set me up, eldest sister. It was him." He kept wildly screaming Leo's name while shoved into the back squad car. "You feel that, right?" Tracy checked her phone, eyes wide. "Eldest sister, I got the file. The driver who tried to run Hazel over just confessed." The absolute mastermind was Kevin. Tracy's voice shook. He paid a terribly sick patient to fake a drunk driving crash and eliminate her. The paper trail is completely airtight. Claire gasped loudly, a cold chill running down her spine. Was this just harsh revenge on Hazel? She knew exactly how the West Side boss operated. If Kevin actually messed with the boss's people, he was totally finished. "We seriously have to find Leo." Tracy firmly clenched her fists. If Hazel signs a forgiveness waiver, Kevin might genuinely get a reduced sentence. "I will go find Hazel," Claire said immediately. At Dragon Hill Cemetery, I stepped out of my car, rocking a black suit, and marched toward the central tomb. Behind me, dozens of sharp men in black suits followed very closely. Reaching the grave, I completely froze. The stone urn vault was smashed open. The precious ashes were gone. The grave was empty. I spun around, grabbing the scared guard's collar. "Who was exactly here?" "Show me the security footage right now. I think a guy limping came by earlier." The guard stammered nervously. "Blake, go quickly check the cameras," I roared. Just then, Tracy ran up the path. Seeing the fully destroyed grave, she instantly stopped in her tracks. "Leo is playing the sugar baby so fun that you decided to dig up your master's resting place for Hazel." Tracy shrieked loudly, her eyes wide with blazing fury. "Old man Lincoln raised you, taught you everything. Where exactly are his ashes?" Tracy's eyes were totally red as she raised her fist and charged me. "Tracy," I caught her wrist effortlessly, my deep voice dropping to a terrifying calm. "In your eyes, I will always be the big villain, right? Whatever Kevin does, it is always my fault." I pushed her back violently, my eyes practically glowing with intense, dangerous fury. "Yes, I scattered his ashes. I am an ungrateful, unfilial, absolute monster. Are you totally happy now?" I turned and walked back to the car. "I, Leo, have a crystal clear conscience. I do not owe the heavens. I do not owe the earth. And I owe old man Lincoln nothing. You and I know this. Why should I explain myself? Who are you to demand answers?" I climbed into the Range Rover. Blake handed me a tablet. The screen showed footage of Uncle Harry limping into the cemetery and swiping the ashes. I stared at it completely and utterly baffled. "Stick with me here." "Boss, what do we do?" Blake asked. "Leo, come outside now." Tracy pounded the glass. "Explain yourself right now. Did Hazel frame Kevin?" I kicked the door open, sending Tracy completely stumbling backward. "Final warning. If you ever disrespect me like that again, I'll personally send you to the underworld to apologize." Then a loud smack. I slapped Tracy across her face. "Remember that lesson?" I got back in the car. Tracy stood there crying, grabbing her phone with visibly trembling hands. Eldest sister Leo dug up Dad's grave. He hid the ashes and he just hit me. What, he actually dug up the grave? Claire, currently waiting right outside the Beautiful View apartments, was completely stunned. "Are you sure?" "Yes," he admitted it. "I saw him standing right over the broken tomb," Tracy sobbed. "Go to the police station and figure out what is happening with Kevin." Claire rubbed her temples, feeling a truly massive headache coming on. "Forget about the departed for now. We absolutely must save the living." "Okay, be careful, eldest sister," Tracy warned before hanging up. He has completely lost his mind. He's totally ruthless now. 10 minutes later, my epic convoy of Range Rovers finally arrived at the apartment complex. Now pay attention, this showdown is intense. Claire blocked my car in the street. Leo, does Kevin's arrest have anything to do with you? She glared, eyes sharp. The driver hit my guy. I told him to call the cops. So yes, I didn't even bother hiding it. Claire looked completely shocked. Leo, how could you? He's the old man's only biological son. I know he caused major trouble for you, but the old man raised us, taught us absolutely everything. Do you have no heart? I laughed coldly. You know what he did? And if I was the one who hired a hitman to eliminate Kevin, what exactly would you do to me? Claire was completely speechless. She hesitated, then slowly dropped to her knees on the asphalt. I'm begging you, I know I wronged you. Claire knelt right there, her voice breaking. But honestly, what's done is done. I looked at her completely unmoved. If you just let Kevin go, I will do anything to make it up to you, she pleaded desperately. You know he did it, and now you want to throw a pathetic pity party. I sneered. I don't need your fake pity, and I certainly don't need your useless compensation. Leo, please. I don't want anything from you people. I coldly cut her off, signaling the driver to keep moving. Leo, Claire screamed aloud, frantically scrambling to her feet, desperate to keep me from leaving. If you just acknowledge me as your sister, you will always be my brother. I didn't even blink. What a great sister. Tell me, Claire, if someone hired a hitman to eliminate your girlfriend, what exactly would you do? Claire hesitated. You'd make sure he rotted in prison, but since it's Kevin, you're on your knees begging for him. I smiled cruelly. You Lincoln sisters are total hypocrites. I rolled the window up. Drive Leo, please. Claire threw herself right in front of the heavy bumper. If you don't agree, just run me over. She was trying to use her own life as leverage. I didn't tell the driver to stop. The driver slammed hard on the gas. Tires screeched loudly as the massive SUV surged forward. At the last possible millisecond, Claire threw herself to the side, tumbling hard across the rough pavement. Her arms were scraped and battered. She sat by the curb, sobbing uncontrollably. Then her phone rang. Eldest sister, I checked. Tracy's voice shook with fear. Kevin really did hire a hitman. He wired the money to a terminal patient. The paper trail is totally solid. He's guilty, but Hazel's fine. You and I both know this is crazy. Getting a forgiveness waiver reduces his sentence. Go home and comfort Mom, Claire said numbly, then just hung up. Inside Harry's apartment. Uncle Harry, I need to ask you something important. I placed my phone firmly on the table. The screen showed a still from the cemetery security camera. Please don't lie to me. I need the absolute truth. Brother Leo, what's wrong? Hazel asked, completely confused. Hazel, take your mother straight into the bedroom. Harry glanced at the photo, then back at me. Once they were gone, Harry lit a cigarette inside. I didn't steal those ashes because I was mad at the Lincolns. If that is what you're thinking, go ahead, hit me if you want. You're a terrible liar, Uncle Harry. I slowly leaned forward. What is the real truth? Harry took a long drag, then crushed the cigarette. Leo, there are hidden things I have to tell you now. Brace yourself. He pulled me out into the hallway, looking down at the busy street below. Hazel is actually not my biological daughter. What I narrowed my eyes. You have an extreme yin constitution. She has an extreme yang constitution. Harry sighed heavily. She, just like you, was adopted by Mr. Lincoln. What else do you actually know? What exactly was my master's relationship with me? I took a step back. The endless mysteries were piling up in my head. Do not tell Hazel about this. Harry looked deeply saddened. I raised her since she was 1. She is my daughter in every way that matters. I was just a humble servant to Mr. Lincoln. He intended for you and Hazel to grow up together, but then Kevin tried to assault her. Victoria totally hated me for reporting it, so I had to take Hazel and run. He suddenly paused. So what do you and I make of this? As for the ashes before passing, Mr. Lincoln personally ordered me to scatter them. Stick with me here. He seemed perfectly healthy, yet acted like his time was fading fast. Mr. Lincoln literally gave me a second shot at life. I promised to fulfill his absolute final wish no matter what. Right then, Harry pulled a tightly sealed envelope from his shirt, handing it over. I ripped it right open. I, Arthur Lincoln, have lived freely. I truly despise those complicated rituals. Just let Harry scatter my ashes exactly as instructed. Please do not make things harder for him. Hot tears completely blurred my vision. I gripped that letter so tight. A wild storm of emotions raged inside. Mr. Lincoln knew those sisters would eventually find out, hence this note. Harry gently patted my shoulder. Leo, just stay right here with us. Live peacefully. He smiled bitterly. I am just some useless old man. Extreme yin, extreme yang. I hardly understand any of that stuff. But I think Mr. Lincoln tried accomplishing something truly massive, and sadly he failed. I have no clue what he protected. Pay close attention here. Back when he was younger, he lived in a mountain hut. The absolute nicest room inside was dedicated to one single memorial tablet. Whose tablet, I asked. I believe it said Master Li Sheen. Harry shook his head. That was just way too long ago. I can't remember clearly. Li Shenny. The name felt super familiar, but I just couldn't place it. That's all I know. Harry coughed heavily. Mr. Lincoln is gone. Nobody holds the answers. I don't even know your true parentage. Thanks a lot, Uncle Harry. I just smiled bitterly. The past doesn't matter anymore. We keep looking forward. Harry coughed again, slowly limping back inside. I stood on that balcony, my mind totally racing. How many wild secrets did the old man hide? He took them to his final rest. Why did he even stay in this city? Am I seriously just a nobody? I scoffed at myself, feeling a massive surge of fiery defiance. If I am a nobody, do I just let everyone else decide my fate? I walked right downstairs and called Blake. Check those cameras. 3 days before the old guy passed. Who did he meet? Where did he go? I want a highly detailed report. I might not be able to beat the heavens, I thought, but I absolutely demand to know how I fail. Understood, boss. Blake quickly replied. You and I both felt this coming. Second boss Cole's club got totally smashed this morning. Any suspects? I laughed coldly. The Black Snake. The Southside boss is finally gone. The other city factions are starting to get incredibly restless. Blake sounded super annoyed. Cole just called me. That Black Snake actually kidnapped his son to force a betrayal against us. I unbuttoned my collar, a cruel smirk forming. Perfect timing. I've got so much pent-up anger right now and nowhere to vent it. Clean them out completely tonight. If a single factory on the south side is still operating by tomorrow morning, you can go buy your own wooden box at Dragon Hill, I ordered calmly. You'll love this. Blake's eyes practically glowed with wild battle hype. Haha, just waiting for the word boss.